All right, everyone, welcome back. Episode 19. We have two very special guests with us today, Mr. Tom Petrella and Mr. Matt Williard. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Excellent.
Good. Good. We got a good bit to go over. Taylor has a list. I have a small list myself. I'm sure Mike has some sort of mental list or something wrote down. I don't even know where my pen is. But without further ado, we're going to roll our disclaimer real quick, and then we'll get into it. Disclaimer. You're about to listen/watch a podcast hosted by a group of friends who tend to use vulgar language and profanity, and also enjoy pounding adult beverages. Viewer discretion is advised. Lastly, we may be making some bold statements. All views and statements made in this podcast do not reflect the views of any sponsors, guests, followers, or any supporters of this podcast. So be cool and don't get offended. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy. And welcome back. So, before we get anywhere, I just want to point out, I hope our thoughts, I want to make sure our thoughts or prayers are with Roe Bully, race director that was announcing of at Barnstormers today as of us recording this. I guess he had some sort of medical issue that he had to go to the hospital for. So, if anyone out there that way listens to us, our thoughts and prayers are with Roe, and hope everything gets better, buddy. Other than that, Taylor, would you like to take the floor?
Yeah, so we're blessed enough to have two great guests with us. Both Matt and Tom are joining us. Matt, you've been on another podcast before, so I'm going to skip over just a little bit of your introduction because we could have our listeners join in that one. So I'm going to ask Tom this first question. And Tom, you want to give us just a little brief history of what got you into RC and why you like to do it? Can you hear me, Tom?
I don't know
I
how
think
you
you're
guys had Matt go first. I'm having internet issues, so I got to switch
Just
up my
like
internet
his,
real quick.
it's
So I'm
just like his
come out, come
racing,
right back on. if that's all
slower
right.
and backwards and laggy, just like on the track. It's terrible.
That's weird coming from the guy that's not first in points.
Oh, that's fucked up right there.
Who's first in what's the order in points right now? Do you guys know?
I can pull it up if you give me a second.
Third. I had a rough last race. I'm definitely third now.
What happened at
talking-
the last
are we-
race, then, Matt?
I'm in the.
I'd feel bad for him if he didn't have his own podcast and he still can't get his shit together. This is terrible.
It's a mess. I'm telling you. I was just looking up new internet service plans. I'm done.
Matt, how long have you been racing RC for? You want to tell our listeners that while Tom's playing around?
Oh yeah. I had a brief stint from like when I was like 13 to 16. Then I got into dirt bikes for a long time. And then when my old bones got too brittle for dirt bike, I still ride, but just not like I used to. When I moved to Pittsburgh, I guess it was 2007, I got back into it heavy. So technically what, 2007 to 25 is like 18 years now.
Matt, do you want to tell the story while Tom can't butt in right now in front of you and tell the story of how you two met?
Yeah.
It's working. No, it's working good. It's working good enough. I'll butt in. Don't you worry. I'll be out there on the roof with one hand in the air trying to get signal so you can't tease me.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, well, I thought Tom was going to go.
Yeah,
I
before you were rudely interrupted, go ahead.
No. I don't know how long ago. It was like 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even more. I actually knew a friend of Tom, Sean. I always forget his last name. It's Irish, but I can't remember it.
O'Keefe.
O'Keefe, that's right. O'Keefe.
Keith
So
O'Keefe.
when 40 plus started up, O'Keefe and I were like the two old guys, and we kind of switched over to that, and we had some epic battles. And just like I am now, he's a ball buster, and we used to bust balls week in and week out racing. And I was pretty tight with Sean, and then life happened with him. He kind of got out of it. I don't know. It was about 3 or 4 years, maybe more than 3 or 4 years ago, and he was friends with Tom. So Tom stepped in for someone to bust my balls when Sean wasn't there, and Tom and Sean are like the same person. So we were the old guys who like to give each other shit. So I still hear from Sean once in a while, but now I have to deal with Tom on the regular.
So when you guys were racing together, and go ahead, Tom.
Rebuttal.
No, Sean had such a good time busting Matt's stones. I'm like, I gotta get on this. This looks like a lot of fun.
It is fun.
And I'm not the only one. Everybody likes busting his stones.
I don't understand. I'm so nice. I never do that sort of thing to people. It's messed up.
I think it's your extreme modesty that makes everybody want to tease you.
I always say I'm not conceited. I'm convinced.
When you guys originally met and started racing against each other, what class was that in? Was it going to be 40 plus e-buggy, or was there a different class?
It was mostly e-buggy. I mean, I ran Nitro, but I didn't have my shit together in Nitro for a long time. So I wasn't really giving him much competition in Nitro. It was mostly electric, but now in the last 4 or 5 years, we do both. We had a running bet for a while for beers. I let him con me. The first bet was whoever had the best results in Nitro. And I was definitely handicapping myself because I didn't have my I's crossed or my I's dotted and T's crossed, and I'd always have a problem. So then I made him change the bet that you had to win both e-buggy and Nitro to collect the beer. And that was working out for a little bit in my favor. But this year we didn't really have the bet so much. I kind of felt bad for Tom. He's retired and he's on a limited budget. I couldn't break him with beer. So
I'm still, as far as I'm concerned, the bet's still going. I haven't given up on it. I don't think the deal now is you have to sweep both.
Right.
Now, and that's been pretty challenging and usually it's probably good this year that I'm actually beating him in electric, because usually Matt kicks my ass in electric, and I hate to admit it. But this year's been my year in electric. But my Nitro program is like Matt's Nitro program of 3 years ago. I'm just all over the place. I can't figure it the hell out.
We totally flip roles. He used to just kill me in Nitro because something was always going wrong. And then this year I've been killing him in Nitro, and he's been killing me in my favorite electric. It's a rough role reversal right now.
So for our listeners then, Matt, do you want to go over what gave you so much trouble when you started out Nitro and what you've learned from it, so that obviously you're doing pretty good now. So why are you doing so much better now?
Everything's different with Nitro, right? Like if it wasn't like simple stuff like brake linkage and throttle linkage, right? Like I didn't know I'd get it set up for one race and I didn't understand how to maintain it. And so like when I take the car apart to rebuild it, I'd pull like the throttle servo horn off the servo. And then when I go to put it back on, I was always a click or two off. So the next race, I'm like, now why don't I have any brake, or why do I have all this throttle? Stuff like that too. And engine tuning, I still suck at engine tuning, quite frankly. But I had help, and I started to figure that out a little bit. So between the tune being off, or the little things that were specific to Nitro not being correct, screws coming loose, stalling. Everybody's heard my funny Jim Lonzo pit story. I'll have to retell that if somebody wants to hear it.
I do.
Absolutely. Yes.
I feel bad for Jim because I know he gets mad when I tell this story, but I think it was last year. He came out and I needed a pit guy. No one was around. Jim's like, I'll do it. And I never asked him if he'd pit before for Nitro. And so I didn't know he had zero experience. So in the qualifiers, it's easy, right? You just splash fuel and you step away and you're good. So the main comes up and we're on the radio, and I said, am I supposed to come in? It's about 7.5, right? He goes, yeah, come on in. So I'm on my way in, and I'm up big in this race. I'm up literally like a half a track before the first stop. And I wasn't really paying attention to what he was doing. And I was kind of looking around. When I looked down, he picked my pit box. And he wanted to put the car on the pit box to fuel. I'm thinking, well, you don't really do that, but whatever. While I was confused with him, I wasn't giving it gas, stalled. I'm like, oh, shit. So he has the box, and he's got the igniter, the the engine. He's pushing. Through the headset, I can't hear anything. Like, I'm like, you have it on, right? Yeah. I'm like, Jim, it's backwards. Turn around. Jim takes the entire box with water on it and turned everything around. Sets it down. Wrong position on the box. And he started pushing on. I'm like, no, the car. He picks the car up, turns around, and he has ignited in the head, but he's pushing on the front cab of the body. So it's not engaging the motor. And I'm like, Jim, push on the motor. And Ezra was down there beside him. And Ezra looked like a linebacker. He came out of the frame out of nowhere, shoulder checks Jim out of the way, fires me up and throws me out on the track. But by that time, I was literally a lap down from the entire field when I was a half a track up. So things like that didn't help. And that's my funny Jim story, because he feels bad, but it was all right. I laugh about it now.
That is pretty
With
funny.
the new Nitro Caddy thing, that's not a problem anymore.
I know.
That's a good.
I should get one.
Tom,
Dude,
while
this
you're
thing's
doing
just
so
good.
good in
That's
Nitro
a really
now-
good idea.
Tom, I was going to ask why you're doing so good in Nitro and kicking Matt's ass now.
I'm not right now. Right now,
Oh,
he's been
I'm
kicking
sorry,
my
I got
ass.
it mixed up.
Matt's been actually he's doing well. I think it's because he keeps sandbagging during the qualifiers, and he uses that all day Sunday to continue to bump up. Now, typically with his his tuning skills, I'm surprised he hasn't flamed out in the E main, but he's somehow making it all the way through. I don't know. I just feel snake bitten. I'm going to be a little bit more thorough. It's one of those things, it always ends up being something stupid. Like, fortunately, you're not racing until 2:00 in the afternoon. You have all day Sunday to work on the car, and I go and check basic things, and then something stupid ends up happening, and just frustrating. But it's like golf. When it all comes together, it makes it feel that much better. But it just usually doesn't come together.
Matt, that brings up a pretty good point from Tom. Is you had a really good success story. I think it was the Northeast Showdown, I believe, where you DQ'd Q1, Q2, and you started last in the probably a D or E main, maybe a D main, and then bumped your way up all the way through, and you
Yeah.
podiumed that race.
You had issues when we
And
had
you-
to rerun the races due to weather.
That was especially rough. Yeah, so I DQ'd the
Yeah.
first round, and then the second round, I actually had like a 5th overall. So I thought, okay, I'm going to be good. Then they ran the lap, and I was in the B main of that, or a C main.
Yeah,
of
you
that.
were B or C sort.
Right. When the A guys ran, it started raining. So after it was done, Kevin goes up and says to them, "What do you guys want to do? Do you want to rerun that or not?" And he was telling me the story. He was laughing. He's like, everybody was quiet. Nobody wanted to say anything. And he goes, "If you don't want to rerun it, we won't rerun it." And finally, somebody, I don't know who it was, raised their hand and said, "I kind of want to rerun it." So I had to rerun the third round again, and I hadn't quite figured out my issue. So when I reran that round again, I DQ'd again. So I come off the stand, and I'm all kind of angry. And Kevin looks at me and he goes, "Man, I'm really sorry." And I said, "It's not your fault." I said, if I would have made the A, I would have made it 3 minutes into the A, and I would have had this problem. So I went back and I figured it out. I had 2 bad receiver packs. And then, so Sunday came and I managed to bump out of the C to the B. And then in the A, I got real lucky because, like it normally happens, like 3 through 8 decided to monkey hump each other right off the rip. And I went around the outside and I got up to like 4th on the second, I think it was on the second lap. And then I just put my head down. I ended up 3rd. Yeah, that was pretty fortunate. And it was a brand new engine. And I was saying, I didn't, like Tom said, I never practice with Nitro. I'm too cheap. I don't want to burn up the engine. But I ended up putting like 1.5 gallons on it on Sunday alone, I think. So it's broken in now.
Monkey.
I remember being in the B main on the headset with Toby, and you were coming up behind Toby, and I'm like, "Toby, run defense now, defense." I was like, "Hold your line, block it." I was trying to do everything, but man, you had a lot of good pace on there, so props to that.
Thanks.
Monkey.
What track was it you guys were racing at? Where you guys met each other? Was that LCRC? Was that a different track or?
LCRC.
Yeah,
LCRC.
yeah.
Matt's was from Western Pennsylvania. I'm from Jersey side, so that was kind of like the midway point.
So was it always competition from day one between you two?
It was a lot of shit talking right away.
Shit talking from one side to the other side, but
I might have initiated some of that. I don't know.
I think we're after him.
Do you guys
I
think
was-
that? Oh, go ahead.
So I
Sorry,
was gonna
Matt.
say, I think, not to be arrogant, but I think the two of us in the last 3 years were usually 1-2, and there were some other guys. But 40 plus this year is no joke. Like everybody's stepped up, and it's gotten a lot harder. I mean, Grayek jumped into Nitro. I kind of knew I was screwed there. That was a hard thing to overcome last week. So
Yeah, absolutely. So, let me see. Do you guys want to talk about the brands of cars and what classes you guys normally run? We kind of touched on it just a little bit.
Yes, I run the associated car now, probably a lot of due to Matt. It's one of those things you can't beat them, join them. I know Matt ran X-ray for a long time, but I ran HB for years. And I always liked the HB cars, but we all know what's kind of happened with those guys, and things kind of dwindled. And I thought it was time to try something different. I was traveling a good amount with Butter, so that was with Brett Butter, so that was kind of good to have him as a resource. Matt's a great resource. And then Vin and all those guys. And and Taylor, I know you do everything you do from Mugen. I know you're building that network up. But I tell you what, I can't say I've been on a ton of teams, but I can't think of any that's been better than AE in regards to support as a group, as a team. Everybody works together. So to me, that's been a really good transition. Definitely got the e-car figured out. We both run J Concept tires, which is another thing we kind of use as a resource. I sometimes I get to wonder if Matt's throwing, BS my way when he says, dude, you got to run this tire. It's great. And I go out there and my car handles like shit. But I usually end up believing him for one reason or another. I don't think he'd sabotage you on purpose. But so we share a lot of the same equipment. Speed controllers. That helps a good bit.
Would you say you guys bounce off a lot of setup and track talk ideas off each other?
I think so. Yeah, I think between Matt and Lonzo's good that way. We try a bunch of different stuff, and we're always pretty good with sharing stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
we're competitive, but I mean, I hate to give him any freaking credit because he's going to get cocky about it. But like he'll come by, like you guys know where I pit, right? Like I'm not too far away from the compressor, so Matt's always walking past because he's in the inexpensive low rent district at LCRC.
Almost like it's just outside of Chinatown, I would say.
yeah, it's out there.
Which, by the way, what's the name's not coming next week or this week? Caruso. Maybe you should jump in his spot.
Huh.
But anyhow, so he'll come back from he'll be coming back, and of course he can't walk by if he sees you at your pit place, he's got to come over and talk some sort of shit to you. But usually he'll throw something out like, "Hey, I just tried this in my diffs and it's working awesome. You got to try it," or "Hey, I made this change. It's working really well." So he's good that way.
And
So
the
both of
wing,
you guys,
the wing
go
tip
ahead.
I gave you that week was key. Remember moving your wing forward?
Yeah, that was a good one.
What are you guys gaining by moving the wing
I
forward?
helped you with the 8 KPI, and your diffs went too crazy. You went nuts on your diffs. You went really high on the diff fluid.
And shock fluid. I really tuned myself out of that last race. Woo!
For in my life.
What is it you're gaining by moving the wing forward, Matt?
I don't know if I can explain it, but I learned it in carpet. Like in carpet over the winter, we would take a wing and we would actually cut the leading edge pretty far back so that you could jam it as far forward as you could. So like the edges of the wings were actually in front of the shock tower. And it doesn't give up any grip, but it gains a lot of corner speed. And yeah, exactly. And so I kind of learned that from the X-ray guys. So back in the day, the X-ray guys would always run Lexan wings, and they would tell me because the way their wings were made, they couldn't take a plastic wing and move it further forward enough. So they would get a Lexan wing and they would jam it as like almost right over the top of the rear tower. And it has the same effect. It doesn't really give up any grip, but the corner speed's amazing and stability stays the same. So I went by Tom's pit and he looked like he was running like a 1972 Super Bee. The freaking wing was like hanging off the back of the car. And I said, does your car swap back and forth down the straight when it gets out of shape? He goes, yeah, actually it does. And I said, well, move your wing forward. Holy hell. And then Navosa was there too. Navosa was like, oh yeah, you got to move your wing forward. And that was a mistake because he beat me that weekend. I was kind of pissed off. Not telling him shit anymore.
So both of you guys running the associated car. Can you tell me one or two things, excuse me, that really just clicked with you after you got it figured out and you're like, yeah, this car is on fire now? Because I know there's a lot of setup changes and stuff with some of the associated stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you the big thing. I admit I hear a lot of people complain, "Oh, this car is so loose, it makes no rear grip." And 9 out of 10 times, it's because they have the front end, the pillow ball set up incorrectly. They either have the pillow balls too tight and or they have the throw set too far left and right. And what's happening is that it's actually binding up the car at the end of the throw. And when you're coming through a turn and you're letting off you're starting to get on the gas and you're letting the wheel go so it starts to straighten up. If it's bound up, the wheels are not coming back to center properly or fast enough. And they're getting on the gas and the wheels are still turning, car breaks loose. So once you have that set up right, you have your endpoints and know how to do it, the car is amazing. So it's pretty simple. I think the thing that took us the longest to figure out was the difference between what we liked in HTC versus LTC gear sets. And I started off real conservative with LTC, and then the car is super easy to drive and it's consistent. But then, you know how it is, you're searching for tents every weekend, and then I would experiment with HTC gear sets. And I've actually migrated all the way back to all HTC now, and I like it. But like Tom said, like I went too high last race, both in the shock oil and the HTC, and man, I tuned myself out of that race. But once you figure that preference out on your disc and you get the front end set up, the car is amazing. It's really good.
I think the other part too, what building on the front end, what you're saying there, the car naturally has a lot more steering than some of the C-Hub cars I drove before, right? Pillow ball as a whole is going to give you, it steers more from the front end than the back end. So it's got a lot of steering to it. So just setting not only your endpoint so it doesn't bind, but lower your dual rate down. If the car starts doing anything wonky, keep backing that dual rate down. Back your dual rate down far enough that the car starts pushing, and then start clicking it up a little bit to get it where you want it. I think some people set the endpoint so they have maximum throw and never check it again or check their dual rate. And the car, it'll spin on itself if you leave it that way. If you just back a little dual rate out, I know as soon as my car feels loose out there, I'll do it on the stand as I'm driving. I'll just take a few clicks out of it, and 100 times better.
Yep. And every time you rebuild the car, it's the same way. Like if you rebuild the car, like I break it down and rebuild it, you've got to reset your endpoints after you do that every single time, because you don't have the pillow balls exactly the same as you had them before in terms of how tight they are. And I think some guys, you know, they slap it back together, leave the radio settings where they're at, and then the next week they're like, man, I got all this steering to the right and no steering to the left, and I don't understand what's going on. So that can be another issue for people.
Tom, what's one or two things that really made the associated car click for you after you got it all figured out?
Well, I have to give Matt and Lonzo a lot of credit, because when I first got the car, I'm like, oh my God, this thing's terrible, because I was just loose as shit everywhere. And once I got the pillow balls adjusted right, that saved a shit ton of you guys can curse here too, right? You guys are pretty good that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Bombs.
a fun podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, zing.
We're a bunch of Neanderthals.
George runs a tight ship, you know. But no, I think, you know, I just honestly, the car's been pretty close from the start, right? I have also moved to the HTC gears. I think I've got a diff set up where I like it right now. Still,
What would be
farting
that
around
diff
with
setup?
springs. Say again.
What would be the diff setup? Like, feed us all the information for listeners and viewers.
I'm running the HTC gears, the 20 millimeter gears. I know they come out now with 18 and 19, and it's kind of, sometimes I think there's too many damn options that'll drive you batshit crazy. I got to figure all the other stuff out first before I start farting around with that stuff. But I'm running 10.75 in my e-car as the traction. You know, that's my higher set. That's like main day traction. When I first get there, I might be a little bit lower. I might be on 7.54 or 8.64, something like that, because it makes the car comfortable enough for me. Moving some battery positions around, shock positions around, all those little things. The e-car was real close out of the box. There hasn't been a ton I've had to change. The Nitro car, I'm still, not I'm gonna say struggling with. I just don't have the same comfort level that I have. But I'm more like, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I don't know how many you guys are running Nitro, but I'm not a blipper, right? I like to hold. I'm used to an electric car. I'm used to holding. If I want to go half throttle through a turn, I hold it half throttle. I watch a lot of these fast Nitro guys. They're blipping through there, and I'm not a blipper. So I got to kind of get used to that and figure that out. And I'm not sure if that's clutch setup I have to learn better or what.
What would you say for tips then, Matt, for Tom?
I don't know. I mentioned that, Tom. I run the exact same setup on my Nitro car as my e-buggy, literally. So I'll go out and practice all day with electric, and whatever I find that works, I go back to the Nitro car, I slap it on there. I'm a blipper, In fact, actually, I'm a blipper in electric now too. It's bizarre. People hear me go around the track. I'm blipping it. I'm like, like blah, 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 even on electric. But I don't know. I run the same exact setup, and I know Tom tried that at once, and he just wasn't comfortable with it, which is fair. I don't know if it should work. It does for me. I run identical setups, which is why I don't practice with Nitro. I just go out there with the e-buggy all day, and then whatever works, I throw it on the Nitro. And the first time the Nitro fires up is on qual 1, which has bit me in the ass. That's what I do.
Well, are you guys blippers? Who's the odd man out here? Mike, Taylor, Alex, what do you guys do?
I think
So-
I'm pretty smooth. I don't know.
So I tried to be a little bit of a blipper, learning from the fast guys, and Nitro is definitely teaching me more about corner speed and trying to keep up the corner speed there. So I'm trying to blip, and it's definitely changed my normal routine of straight to the apex of the turn, on the brakes, off power turn, square up, and then get back on the throttle. So I'm trying to blip just a little bit and slowly feed that into where I'm comfortable right now as a driver. I'm still a newbie overall at driving, I would rate myself, so we're getting there. Mike drives Nitro now that he has mine.
I did for a long time, yeah. But no, I drove Taylor's, 2 weeks? Last week? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Last week? 2
Or
weeks
is
ago.
it last week now?
It may have been
Last
last
week,
week. I don't
yeah.
remember.
It was last week.
It was last weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, definitely, it's a totally different driving style. Like you do blip Nitro, like electric. I don't at all. It's just that electric's more point and shoot for me. But yeah, no, Nitro is like, brake before the turn, and drive out. It's like, I don't know.
I feel like. Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, cornering wise, I drive my electric like I do in Nitro, to where that's one thing that held me back in carpet. To where, like, I don't know, with Matt's help and Jim's help, like, got me a lot better at carpet. But you have to point and shoot in carpet. You can't drive like an 8-scale car. But
I
don't know.
I feel like an ace, like on the electric side, I feel like blipping would make you slower. Because I mean, and maybe I don't exactly comprehend what we mean, but I feel like every time you blip the throttle around a turn, you're just gonna wheel spin and break traction on each blip. Like maybe you aren't sliding out, but I feel like it's gonna be slower than
Not
just with a smooth throttle
necessarily
input.
because the clutch.
Well, that's Nitro though. I like Nitro.
Oh, okay.
I understand
Yeah,
it for Nitro, like because the clutch is gonna take out a lot of that. It's not the instant torque. Like in electric, I feel like you really want to be smooth with it more. But I don't know either. I'm not near as fast as pretty much anyone in here, so.
That's another thing for guys that are running electric though. Sometimes I see like odd people asking like, "Hey, Mike, can you help me set up my ESC?" Or I'll check their ESC settings for me. You go in there and you look. They got the torque up to 10. They got the frequency all the way down low. Everything's maxed the hell out. I'm like, you understand? You got a 4S vehicle that's freaking already overpowered as is,
Mm-hmm.
and you're putting this thing on freaking blast, and you're new to the hobby. Like my stuff's turned all the way down. I'm like on a scale of 3 out of 10 for my torque settings. I've got my KV up real high. My brakes are super soft. That's for something for newer people. Just back it down. These things got way more ass. And I'll hear people talk like walk through the picture. Hear people like, "Oh, I'm going to gear it up a tooth or two because I want to be faster down the straightaway." In the meantime, they're missing the apex by 6 feet in every other turn. Like, might not want to worry about that 10th of a second you're going to save on the front stretch, and get it hooked up everywhere else.
Yeah, and
But,
save a second in the turns.
It's testosterone. We all do it. It's like back to the golf thing. We all swing for the fences, and it usually doesn't work out real well.
I will say on the ESC side, Mike tuned when I had to put a new ESC in at last LCRC. Shout out LCRC for hooking me up with that. Mike put his hot Tekin tune in the ESC and did the computer work, and it felt like way more numb in a good way on brake and acceleration. Like when I first squeezed it, I was like, what the fuck? Why doesn't it feel like it has power? And then, but I was faster that way, just how you were talking, Tom, because it didn't have all that punch and I wasn't driving it ballistically. So, yeah.
And it's funny, like, my ESC setups, it's super simple. Like, my torque is 0. I have the torque all the way down, Like, you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I don't
Tom
go
and
quite
Matt-
that far.
Go ahead.
I use the brake frequency and the throttle frequency more than the torque. So I'll have really high brake and throttle frequencies. That way, if I get too fat fingered because I'm in the heat of the moment, the speeder just it won't come on instantly, even though I've tried to smash it instantly. But my torque's down there too. I think the default torque would say like, I don't know, Tekin's what, like 8? It's up
I
there.
think 7.
Is it 7 or 8? Mine's down to like 5 or 4. But I use the
So-
brake frequency a lot to prevent me from getting overzealous and smashing the gas or brake and having it do stupid stuff. That's what's nice. I mean, it's a computer, right? It's way more consistent than you are.
Oh, yeah.
So let the computer do the work for you. The radios and the speeders have all this technology. If you're not taking advantage of it, oof.
Yeah, I actually just got my things mixed up. Torque is at 6. It's at 5 or 6. I'm thinking timing. My timing's at 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom and Matt, both you guys are on Tekin and Sanwa combos. Is that it?
Yeah. For 8
I
scale,
run a Futaba radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have an M17.
I'm sorry to hear that, Tom.
Worked for me. I'm a loyal guy.
I
I
know.
running the same stuff I've had forever. So if it works,
Yeah,
don't change it.
absolutely.
Plus, I need an excuse anyway. If I don't win, it's because of that radio or something. I'll come up with some bullshit. Usually, it's the wrong tire, but we can use the radio every once in a while.
Yeah, you got to change it up.
I've heard some really good stuff about the TQ radios from Traxxas. I think you should try that on your electric car.
Dommel loves them.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can't go wrong. I'd give that a shot next week. This coming week.
You'll still be behind me, probably.
Oh.
The TQI with the Bluetooth module. You know.
What's the
Gotta go
maintenance
all out.
routine for you guys in between races?
Brutal. I just started working on my car before I came here. I wouldn't say brutal. I enjoy doing it, but mine are probably, I know, similar to Matt. Mine are complete teardowns. Every part comes apart. Any moving part, all the hinge pins come out, all the bearings come out. I usually soak the diffs in naphtha, clean them, make sure the bearings are all good. The big thing I believe in is a lot of guys will change their diff fluid, but they don't pull the outdrives out. And that grease on the outdrive through the cups and through the ring gear is important. And a lot of guys aren't necessarily cleaning those. And it's funny, even when I soak mine in naphtha and I go and wipe them off, they're pretty crusty and nasty. But so it's complete diffs. I have to admit, I don't do shocks that much. I need to do them more. I'd rather build turnbuckles than do shocks. I just hate freaking shocks. I don't know what it is. I just don't like doing them. You gotta. Yeah. I don't go crazy and polish all the hinge pins, but they all get hit by a Scotch-Brite pad. And then everything gets washed. Everything's plastic. It's washed with simple green and water outside with the garden hose. Scrub it quick, bring it in, dry it, air it off, and put her back together.
Why did you choose Namtha? I'm curious about that.
That was I don't know if you guys know. He's pretty popular in this area. Scooby Horton.
I don't.
Scooby, really fast on-road guy, primarily in the South Jersey area, but wealth of knowledge. He was the man at Family Hobbies for years and everything, but he was the one that said use Namtha. It breaks down the silicone, but it doesn't mess anything else up. And I've been using that now probably for probably close to 10 years. And I swear by it because the gears come out perfectly clean. You can put the diff cup and everything. I do take the O-rings out, and it always seems to work really well.
It's interesting. I'll have to buy some more of that. I used to use it for RC drag racing. We'd use that to clean the tires after putting prep and stuff on them. That was really popular with that.
Well, that makes sense. He's a big on-road guy, so it's probably how he started doing the diffs because he was probably doing the rubber tires at some point.
Yep. What about you, Matt? How do you do maintenance and prep in between races?
Same thing. I break that thing down to every single piece. But I bought one of the biggest ultrasonic cleaners you can get off of Amazon. It's like a 6-liter. So I use like water, simple green, and some WD as a mixture. I'll take all the individual parts. Obviously, no bearings, no gaskets, no O-rings. And I don't throw a lot of metal in there, but I will throw some metal in there. I'll let the ultrasonic cleaner do its thing, pull it out, blow it off with compressed air. And then, like Tom said, I Scotch-Brite the hinge pins, then I'll polish them. I'll actually use like Mother's aluminum polish, and I'll polish them. I got a graphite powder for the pillow balls and the pillow ball holders. I'll do that. Reassemble it. Some guys, I used to yell at Lonzo for this. Like some guys will, they'll get a gritty bearing and they'll pop the seal off and they'll clean it and re-grease it. They're like $2 a piece. I toss them out, throw new bearings at it whenever they go bad. The one thing I learned, the nice thing about doing it that way, when you go to the track after you've cleaned it that way, I don't know if it's the mixture I use or the fact that I'm not using other chemicals, but the car resists taking on new dirt longer after you've cleaned it that way. I used to be a Motul motor wash guy because Kevin and Krista got me turned on to that stuff. You can go to the compressor and spray it down with motor wash, and it looks like it came out of the kit. But that motor wash gets in places like it builds up like a film on the hinge pins and stuff. And even so, like once you clean it, if you go back out to the track, dirt is more likely to collect on that thing. But if you break it down like ultrasonic cleaner and use the right solution and blow it off, I can go to LCRC all week this coming week, go to the compressor just with compressed air, and it's 90% clean the whole weekend.
What are you using for a solution? I'm curious because I just got a 12-liter new one in the mail
You
today.
got the one that I did? Son of a gun.
It was Amazon Prime Day, so I had to. I
Oh,
have
yeah,
a
I
smaller
missed that
one I've been
one.
using, but
Wow, I thought my 6-liter was large. Like 7/8 water, a big chunk of simple green, and then I take WD-40 and I spray it in there. I hold it down for about 10 seconds, WD-40, and it works. I don't know. It as soon as it comes out of the ultrasonic cleaner, though, I take it to my compressor and I blow all the holes out of the arms, any kind of holes. I blow all the stuff out of that, and then I admit that some of the rod ends, I'll leave the balls in the rod ends and they'll go in the ultrasonic cleaner. But when they come out, I make sure I blow compressed air around those so no water collects in there. Oh, and then the other thing Tom said, it's pivotal. When you take those outdrive cups out, there's a groove in them and you got to put like grease in there. I use the ProTech makes 2 types of greases, like a white lithium and a blue for O-ring. And I use the white lithium in that groove in the outdrives. But I just make sure to blow it off when I'm done, and then I reassemble. And I do that after every single race.
Are you as OCD as me? I have all my out drives marked for the right side and the right side dog bones. So they always go back on the right side, always stays on the right side, left side always stays on the left side.
I mark mine with a Dremel. I just scratch it real quick so
That's what I do,
that's on the ring gear side. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
And
it's
then-
worn in that way, so I feel like it should be back that same way.
And pins I replace, like when you have it apart, you can inspect all the pins in the end of your drive shafts. And I try to replace those pretty often. The more often you can keep them fresh, the less likely you're going to beat up your outdrives. I think we're fortunate, Tom. AE outdrives are almost indestructible.
I was going to say that I bought a bunch of out drives to replace mine with, and they all look awesome. Now I do got to find it looks like you can only buy the front and rear ball cup ends for the center diff.
With
But
the
those
with
come
the
with
shafts.
come with the drive shaft, which I wish they had those separate, but pick
Yeah.
your battles.
Would you
Yeah.
guys say it's necessary to go through maintenance in between races? The way
Oh,
you
my
guys
God,
do
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you find all kind of weird stuff. I don't have to replace a lot, but once in a while. Well, this past weekend, or the past LCRC race, I guess it was, I'd rebuilt the car. Everything was fine. I took it apart this time, and I don't actually remember any hard crashes, but I had a bent hinge pin in the e-buggy, and you can't feel it on the bench. You can pump it up and down; it'll work. But I guarantee you, it was affecting things. When I cleaned it and pulled it out, I was like, "Oh, where'd that happen?" Tom, I assume Tom comes over from time to time when I'm not looking and smashes my stuff with a hammer. That's my only. It's the only conclusion I can come to how he's beating me in electric lately.
You're doing it on your own, buddy, but I like it.
Tom,
But,
do you feel it
I
necessary?
like when electric goes first. You have the little pressures off because we always had this bet. Remember last year we were racing, and Matt had already beat me in electric. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to own beer. And he was ahead of me in electric, or Nitro. So Nitro's afterwards. My Nitro car flames out. I'm walking off the stand and I'm just pissed off at this point. I get to the bottom of the stand and all of a sudden I hear Williard cursing. He's ready to come down the stand. His car broke. I think it was
remember this.
Navoso hitting for me. I tell Navoso, I'm like, start that bitch up. I'm going back up. I went back. I ran 2 laps just to get ahead of him. And I came off the stand.
For beer, you son of a bitch.
Smart move.
Speaking of beer, what do you guys like to drink?
Oh, he's gonna tease me about my beer. He likes stuff you can chew.
That's the best description.
I'll do it. Yeah, Yingling Flight, like Girls
Yingling
Light,
Flight.
or Girls Light, I call it. Christ. Yeah, I'll do like Stella or Guinness or something like that.
The Blue Moons are good.
Blue Moon's good. We do Blue Moon from here and there.
Matt also makes fun of me for what I drink.
I don't understand. Listen, I get it. If you're in college and you're broke, you buy the cheap light beer. You're
You drink
working now,
Natty Ice?
Alec. You go and buy good beer.
I got this
oh my
now.
God. It's
This is expensive. It
Toby
was like
just texted me.
$22.
Toby just texted me and asked me what type of beer you want, Alex.
Keystone. Well, I don't even know if you can get Coors Light.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if they sell Keystone by them.
Nobody's buying. Get the mid-grade.
Yeah.
no kidding.
Like at the 89 octane. Or 90, whatever.
What are you guys' favorite events then to run through the year?
I like it on LCRC. It's just always a good time there. You know, I need to travel more. I tell you, one of the things learning to open up my own track is if you want to race less, open up your own track. You'll race a hell of a lot less. It just happens that way. But yeah, LCR. I mean, look, it's you guys, right? I know all you guys there. It's like going back to a family reunion, right? You get to see everybody. I like being engrossed in it for a few days. Do a little bit more traveling. I'm actually waiting tomorrow night. I got to sign up for AMS. I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that with Mike and Schreff and a few other guys. So I enjoy traveling with those guys whenever we can go. And I know I could probably speak for Matt here, but I think we all have a soft spot if we had Blue Ridge back. That was the place to go. Blue Ridge was awesome.
You know why it got shut down, right?
No,
Because I came the last year and loved it.
The place out.
I loved it. I gassed the room out. I did do that. And then
Classic Matt.
they closed it down because I loved it. I was like, I'm coming back every year. And that was the last year they had it. So, yeah.
Is this a track or an event?
It's an event. Yeah. I think they held it.
Virginia. The only bad part about it was they used to run fifth scale there too. And those things were loud as shit. But they would, I think Joey would come in and build the track layout for them. Huge layout, indoor facility. 1 year, Kevin from LCRC actually rented a room and a bunch of us pitted in there, probably, I don't know, 15, 20 of us. But the layouts were freaking awesome. It was always like, I'm trying to think, maybe 200 entries, if even that.
Yeah, it wasn't huge.
It used to always run the same weekend as AMS. So it was never overly visible. It had that feel of Psycho Nitro Blast, but with a club race atmosphere, if that kind of makes sense.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing.
How long ago was this?
2 years ago now, right? 2 or 3?
2021 was the last year, I think.
Oh, wow. Was it 4 years ago?
So it's it's relatively recent. Like I figured it'd be older race than that. Because I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, that
and
was
normally, Matt, I'm gonna say, Matt, you lived here for a long time. I didn't even hear you mention it.
Yeah, I forget why. I think Kevin had mentioned it to me. He said, "Hey, we rent a room. You should come down and try it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." So that was what made it fun, though, too. All the guys we knew at LCRC, there were like 15, 20 of us. We were all in it. It was like a conference room. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
You step out of the conference room, and then there's the track. But we were all pitting in there, and we were all laughing, and Tom was farting and was getting out of control.
It wasn't me.
I can guarantee it wasn't Tom.
So yeah, and then we go out to eat. It was a lot of fun. But I guess they had held it for a bunch of years before then. I just happened to get there the last year they did it. And it wasn't like it was like an organization, and they rented out that place, that Equine Arena, to run the race. It wasn't, I guess they were there all the time at that particular facility, but they weren't like a track per se. There was like race time events, but something else, right? Whatever they called themselves.
Yeah, SRS Motorsports or something, or Scale Motorsports.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Tom, for listeners that haven't been to LCRC, tell us what event out of the 7 is your favorite one and why.
Whatever one, the temperatures are around 75, 80 degrees tops, and it's not real humid and it doesn't rain, are my favorite ones.
April and October.
Yeah.
Well, not this past April, but
you never know. I've been there in April. We froze and had snow coming down. I've been there in April and we were sweating our asses off. So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But no, look, I like all of them. I like all of them. It's kind of hard to pick one. Like no one's crazy about the heat, but they do a good job with it all. If you do get shitty weather, you're gonna run, and if you do get rain, usually it attracts money anyway.
Yeah,
it actually makes for a better track.
Yeah,
Schreff would say every time. He hopes for the rain.
Somebody was saying it. I'm not sure if it was one of you guys. Somebody was talking about it. about, I guess they looked at dirt underneath a microscope. And if you look at it, when there's no sawdust or anything in it, it's got very smooth edges. But when they add the sawdust to it, it kind of gets like jagged edges. And that's why the traction comes up so much. They could have been totally bullshit me, but it made sense.
I would not put us past Kevin getting with one of his connections. And after we had a conversation about how he has a NASA scientist friend that did a whole investigation on the decoders, I could see him getting the dirt under a microscope.
Yeah, somebody mentioned me devices. So yeah, I can't, Taylor, to answer your question, really, I don't have a specific one, right? I think anytime I go, I try to get there early. I love the idea of being there for 3 or 4 days, fully locked in, fully engaged with racing and hanging out with my friends. To me, that's what it all comes down to. And I like being on site. Like, we've gone to, you go to other tracks, you have to go to a hotel at night and go out to eat. Having everything right there is kind of convenient because you want to start cracking beers at 11 a.m. No one's there to judge it too much. You have nowhere you have to go.
Or
What about you, Matt?
7:30
Um, yeah, I'm the same way. Everybody wants to say the Mugen, and I do love the Mugen, but the downside of the Mugen is you stand in line and you get half the practice time. So I love the Mugen, but I kind of like the other races where if you get there on a Thursday or Friday, you can practice at will almost. You only stand around for a little bit. So I would say, though, except for the cold, for whatever reason, the Halloween race always feels like the best club race you've ever been to. It's so down to earth and it's so low key compared to the others. It's like winding down the end of the year. And as long as the temperatures aren't brutal, that ends up sometimes looking back is like, man, that was fun. The Halloween race was great.
And
Weather
just real
last year
quick,
for the Halloween race was amazing. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
high
it
as
was
75
really
in the
nice,
daytime,
yeah.
and yeah. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
no, just real quick, reflecting on what, thinking about it. I mean, the cancer race too is always good. It's a good time of the year, but what a good cause, right? There's just a lot of extra stuff to do beyond the race. And so, hey, your cars feel good. You want to go walk, doing all the donation stuff. They raise a ton of money. And I'm sure everybody's had some sort of impact at some point, unfortunately, with cancer. So that's a good thing too.
Well, that race started, Mike and I can tell you stories. That started at our home track, McCullough's in Pittsburgh. And man, could we tell you some stories about what happened, what went down at those cancer races? You want to talk about partying after hours? That got quite out of hand. So that's where that originated. And it's funny, I love it at LCRC, but it never reached that same level of party feel that happened at McCullough's when it got dark. It was on.
Yeah, unfortunately, that'll probably never come back. You know what I mean?
Everyone's got a damn camera now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
point. Good thing there was no social media back in the early days of the cancer race. I don't think any of us would be employed.
Back in the day, there was stories. Today, it's evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just that, Matt. I mean, you've been going to the cancer race way longer than I have, like way back then. But I think it was almost a fact where, except for maybe 1 year, it downpoured almost every single cancer race.
Oh.
And then McCullough's turned into a mud pit every single year.
The 1 year it rained and it blew so hard, somebody's tent got blown up into the transformer and it killed the transformer, and they had to call the power company out to get the power back on so they could run the race. But you're right, like every year. And the 1 year, people were getting pulled out of the mud because it got so wet, the trucks were stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys kind of mentioned you both run J Concepts tires. Do you want to touch on your tire program? What's that look like? What tires you generally run in? How many tires you bring into the track? What treads, etc.
Well, Tom will have better input than me because Tom has a bigger variety, and sometimes I wish I had a bigger variety. I stick to just the same 2 or 3 tread types and a couple of each compound. And it's weird at LCRC. It seems like every year there's a new tire. And so I learn not to stock up ahead of time too much, because ultimately it's like, oh no. Well, like for now, for example, I think the last race, Tom, you were saying it, Ron G was telling me that between double bars and even dirt web 2s and A2 were like money on main day. And I'm still trying to run like a detox or a relapse. So it's like it's changing all the time. But for me, I keep like 2 or 3 tread patterns and all different compounds on hand for each weekend. Heck, the opener this year, it's April, right? You're almost always running green most Aprils. That April, I went through every single compound. I used green, blue, and aqua by main day. So I just try to have them all on hand, just a few tread patterns that I trust. But I know, Tom, you try everything. You've got all kind of tread patterns that I don't even own.
Well, it's because I'm stupid. I tell myself I'm like it's LCRC. I mean, I bring 2 tubs of tires, and I typically run the same thing over there.
Mm-hmm.
I like to run reflex when the track's green. As the groove comes up, you can jump on the relapse or something like that. If it rains, you want to go to a green ellipse. And I did experiment with the bars a little bit. I did chicken out in the mains to run them. But it's funny, the tire things, last time I was there, I look at Shreff's car after he comes out for his 25-minute Nitro main. He ran double bars, same compound as me. My tires, they look like I barely scuffed them in, and they were good for at least a few more races. Shreff's comes off, and they're freaking bald. I mean, gone. So everybody's driving style will dictate what the best tire is too. That bar might be better for people that are pushing a hell of a lot harder than I am. And conversely, somebody else might do better with, a bigger lug. It all depends. But for me, reflex, relapse, and then I'm going to try to add the bars to it, but I chicken out every time before main. And I'm hopeful this time that I actually have a chance that we get 3 qualifiers, and we've had bad luck with rain. I'm knocking wood here. But if the weather's decent, that we get the 3rd round and hopefully I don't shit the bed in the first 2 rounds, that I have a chance 1 round to experiment and throw something else on there in the 3rd round as the track starts grooving up. I just haven't had that chance this year. It seems like every time I've gone, we've been rained out on Thursday. And this list of things that are in my phone of I want to try, I haven't really been able to do.
I've noticed the double bar, the carcass seems a little softer in particular compound compared to the same compound of another tire. It seems like so that would maybe make sense that they do wear down a little faster. I've been told that too from some other drivers. And to touch on what you said, Matt, we had Ethan on here, and Ethan says he never runs a bar tire. He runs like the relapse. So that's interesting. And Ethan's a pretty fast guy. So, I took that with some pretty good advice.
I ran that double bar 2 races ago, and I don't know why. I was just like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm normally conservative like Tom. I'm normally like, well, I know what's gonna work for me for sure. So I tried it, and I came off. Well, I would say I had to be marshaled like 3 times, and it was the one layout where if you got into 10 laps, you were doing okay. And I got even marshaled like 3 times, and I came off, and I got 10 laps. So I looked at people were like, "What do you think of them?" I'm like, "Well, it's hard to say. Like they definitely had pace because for as often as I needed marshaled, I still got into the 10-lap run, but I also needed marshaled 3 times. So they weren't the most consistent things I ever ran, but yet they make heck of a pace. And that's probably the same thing for you, Tom. That's what scared me. Like, yeah, I'd like to try them in the main, but I don't want to be on my lid either. Like I know I'm not on my lid when I'm running detox because they treat me well." So
that's a tire that's underrated. A lot of guys don't run a detox. That's still one of my favorite J Concept tires.
Gavin,
a lot of guys don't run it. The relap looks close to it, but when that track gets that gray line, and there's no dust or very little dust, they're money.
Gavin Fusina was telling me he told me not to run detox because of how the middle tread pattern, it's straightforward rather than like side to side like a relapse. And he said you can't get forward bite out of them. I have them both. I haven't noticed a damn difference in that aspect, but that's really interesting.
I give up forward bite for side bite anytime I have to. I'll take side bite. I could deal with forward bite being awful, but I can.
Do you notice that?
Drive around that.
Do you notice forward bite with the detox?
No. So what I notice is if I run relapse, I tend to catch more edges for some reason, and I can't explain why. But like I'll get these weird tip overs. So they scare me a lot of times. So if the track is at all blown out, I always go to detox because detox don't tend to do that. So I never notice the forward bite so much or lack of forward bite in the detox. I just noticed that relapse have a better pace, definitely have a better pace, but they have bit me so many times on just catching an edge and flipping me over that I always go back to the old girlfriend, the first the first one, the first lay, detox, man. They always treat me well.
That's going to be a clip later on.
The first.
Uh-huh.
Let's drop the link here to LCRC's link for the detox sale.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. I just got to learn how to do it, but I can do it.
So what's one piece of advice you wish you knew at the beginning of your RC career that you know now?
Sean told me don't talk to Williard. He's a dick. I should have listened.
I won't deny it. I mean, I'm a dick. I would say that just not overdriving, and I think some weekends, like I'll do very well for a couple weekends in a row, and you think to yourself, I just want to get faster, so you go out there and you start pulling harder, and then you start to see yourself fall apart more, and that also leads into like everybody thinks, people will say like, what motor are you running out of LCRC? Do you go to like a 2250 or something? And I'm like, I have a 1900, and sometimes I dial it down because ultimately you have to be able to drive under control. You can turn hot laps, but if you're burning and turning hot laps, but one of them is on your lid, all that time you saved just went out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to, it's the name of the podcast: slow is fast, under control, don't overmotor, don't overpower, drive within yourself. And I still have to tell myself that about twice a year. Right? You have a couple good results, and you go out there and like, watch it this weekend. I'm gonna tear it up on my lid, off the track.
Well, I'm going to say I agree with you, Matt, totally. Because I find when we have qualifiers, my first qualifier almost always is my best qualifier because I'm like, need to get a good clean run in, got to be patient, don't take any big risks. When I get to those spots where the car comes out of control or something's off a little bit and it's a 50-50 shot, I play conservative and roll it. And then I feel like, all right, I feel a little better now. Now I'm going to start trying to push it a little bit. And now those things that are 50-50 or 30-70, I'm like, squeeze it, let's try it. And it comes back and bites you in the ass. And it's funny, using VRC, I don't know if you guys use VRC every once in a while. I don't bring it out often, but every once in a while I will. And I like to go in there and I like to run time trial. So it forces you to do 3 laps. And you hate when you screw up on the 3rd lap because you just wasted all that time. You have to go back and start over again. You try to get the best time you can. But I noticed slowing down, staying on the inside of the turn, no matter how hard you come into the turn, if you blow 5 foot out of the turn, out of the apex of the turn, you're losing time no matter what you do. So you may feel like you're slow into the turn. You're not really slow overall. You're faster on the clock. I wish we could all have ghost cars out there.
Oh,
I'd love
my
to have a
goodness.
ghost car and say, hey, where am I faster at in this section? How can I attack this better? But
With all the hologram shit we got nowadays, I mean, we're should be right on the technology, right? Someone with live RC or MyLabs, come on, what are we doing? Get to it.
But you make a good point, Tom. You were talking earlier about when you helped me with the 8 KPI versus the 16 KPI. So the one Thursday I came there and I was like, everybody's talking about 16-degree KPI on the AE car, so I'm going to try it. So I go out there. First part, I didn't even start with the 8. I went right to the 16, and I'm out there by myself. And I'm like, they're not bad. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep them. Maybe I won't. Tom comes out, and we're actually running similar lap times, but he is eating me alive on the right-hand side of the track where there's a bunch of switchbacks, a bunch of quick turns. And he goes, man, your car sucks over there. And I'm like scratching my head like, it normally doesn't. But I thought I was doing okay till you came out. So you don't know until you're, beside somebody. And then I said, let me drive your car, which had the 8 KPIs on it. And then I was like, oh, shit. So I went right back
to my own damn car in 2 laps. Breaking my heart.
I went back, tore them out. I said, Vin, do you want some free 16-degree KPIs? He took them. But to your point, right? Like you don't know, you're like, it feels okay. You're out here by yourself. You have no idea what you're really doing until somebody else who can wheel comes out and dusts you. And you're like, oh, I guess they were not good.
But I think that's the advice for anybody new, right? Just don't wreck. The 5/100ths of a second you're going to make by holding that throttle just a smidge longer that pushes you out of the apex of the turn, you're going to give it all back. Or those 50-50 shots, you have, if you have, say you have 5 50-50 shots during a race, odds tell you you're going to miss 2 of them. and the extra few, tenth of a second or 0.2 of a second you're going to lose, by the time someone comes out the marshal, it's going to cost you 3 to 5 seconds. Even if you got it right the entire rest of the race, you're net losing time. But that's advice I give you. It's advice I give you guys when I'm out there. I do stupid shit all the time. Like,
I know.
we got
But
this.
don't you ever wonder?
Do as I
like,
say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still makes me wonder though, Tom. Like, I go out there and I can run pretty consistent, but I always compare my times like with the young guns and expert, and I watch them go around the track, and I'm like, they're definitely squeezing way harder for way longer, and I'm like, how are they doing it? I can't squeeze for that long and that hard without putting it on my lid. So sometimes I question, like, am I too conservative? Because you look at these kids and you're like, how the hell are they doing it on this same layout?
Watch them drive. They're making the same mistakes we're making. They just fix them before it bites them in the ass. They're counter steering in the air. They're tapping brakes, moving throttle, wiggling the wheels, whatever the hell they got to do. Once my car's up in the air, cattywampus, I'm like, well, fuck, we're going for a ride here. I don't know which way to turn the thing.
I'm the same way.
It's like you have a short course truck and you land on your side. You're like, all right, do I turn the wheels right or left to get it back on its wheels? I get it wrong every effing time.
Yep.
So these kids just have it figured out. It's just natural for them. They know in the air, hey, I got to do this.
Yeah, I'm the same way
Crazy.
as you, Tom. When it's up in the air, now I'm just waiting to see where it lands and praying it lands where I want it to.
Jesus, take the wheel.
I can snap it down and I can take the nose up, and that's about it.
2D, not 3D. That's all I got for questions. Mike, do you want to lead in some questions before I let Alex? I know Alex has got a few.
Before that, can we do a quick hydration station? Or dehydration, I guess. So
Sure.
we're going to roll our ACS clip. Shout out Tony and Colleen down at ACS. Be right back.
So, how do you hobby? At ACS Hobbies, we've got everything to fuel your passion and spark your creativity. Whether you're into RC cars, model trains, boats, or planes, we have a huge selection of kits, parts, and accessories. Need paints or tools? We've got you covered. Test your skills on our RC crawler course or race on our oval track. There's always something fun to do. Plus, discover an awesome range of games for all ages. ACS Hobbies is your ultimate destination for hobby enthusiasts. Visit us today and start building your next adventure.
Back.
We're back.
So, Matt, I have a couple things for you. Two things, really. But, so, I know over the last year or so, and I've noticed it personally because my B7, and you helped me tremendously with that car. What have all you been changing and testing and trying? Like, what really goes on in your head when you're trying to figure all this stuff out? You know?
It's
like,
a monkey with a pair of cymbals.
like every time I talk to him, the car's ripped apart and he's trying something else. Like,
Yeah, I've got the car to a point where I have a base setup that I trust. And so now you're always trying to find that extra 10th. And you're trying to find that 10th in something that is easy to drive. I don't know how to explain that. Like, so last week, for example, I went at that car. I literally had 12 practice rounds in, and I had a different diff fluid every single time I went out. And I was just trying to see, like, if I could pick up some tenths and make the car still consistent to drive. So I was trying diffs at that time. And it was more than that. I was doing more than diffs too. I was trying wide hinge pin setup, narrow hinge pin setup. But it all comes down to, like, did I pick up the tenths and do I consistently run good laps with it? Like, where I screwed myself the last race is I was tuning for hot laps, and I was gunning for a 34 on Thursday or Friday. And I got real low and I got close, and I made all these changes to do it, but I wasn't recognizing in the hunt for that heater lap that I was on my lid like every fourth lap. And I kept it that way in qualifying, and I started to realize, like, oh my God, this car it's out there. So I backed it all out. So mostly just, I know what a good base setup is, and I'm trying to tweak things to see if I can find that next change that's like, okay, that's good. It works all the time. It's consistent. It's picked me up a few tenths here and there. But for the most part, the car's, Tom will tell you, it's right there. There's not much left to do. I assume it's just mostly me now, just not driving hard enough, being too old.
Matt, what were you doing that picked up the speed for you that also made it inconsistent and hard to drive?
I went really high on the diffs. Like at one point, so you know the difference with AE has LTC and HTC, and LTC generally speaking likes heavier oil to make the same coefficient, but they're smoother. They don't make as much acceleration, like hard acceleration. I kind of translate it to torque. Like they don't come firing out of the hole. So I'd go into HTC and I'd gone up to as high as 2015, which is pretty high. Up to that, before then I usually start out at 775. And when you could keep it in the groove and you were punching on it hard, it would come out of a corner like a rocket ship. But at the same time, the second the track got a little dusty or had one tire out of the groove, the car was all over the place. But I kept hunting for that lap at those diffs, and I thought, oh, I'm going to keep it. And the conditions kind of changed too. Like Saturday, it got a little weird there. That last Saturday, like it got cooler a little bit at one point, and the track got a little weird. And I was like, I'm keeping it. I'm just being stubborn, and it bit me. So
Is that you talking like Q2 last race?
yeah,
When we were on greens.
Yeah, we all
well,
went
that
to
was the other
super
thing
soft
that had me
tires
confused
and
too. Yeah, like it was really warm.
It was still like
Like the
95.
Yeah, but the track had this like cocoa brown yet, and I kept trying to go out on a hard tire. I usually tell myself if I'm stuck between two, pick the harder of the two. That didn't work either. So yeah.
The track
That's
was
fun.
it was different last time because the time before that it grooved up crazy, and that was only put the sawdust and everything
We had
down.
bad rain. Yeah.
This time, yeah, this one last time out. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good. It just never got that crazy groove.
Yeah.
And I thought it would, right? That's why I was like, I'm not changing these diffs. The track is going to come into my diffs.
Yep.
And it didn't. Yeah. So
How far away from your base setups do you guys usually end up making it? Because I assume you guys kind of come into a race event with like your base setup and then make a couple tweaks and stuff there. What are you usually changing, and how far away do you get away from the base setup?
I don't have a tendency to change a ton anymore. Some small tweaks I might make, and there's some things I want to try, but obviously I'll change my shock oil, maybe go up and add or go down based upon temperature. I am tweaking with the Nitro car, trying some different spring combinations. The last layout had a lot more tight technical 180s, and sliding my Ackerman back was a big help. That gave me a good bit more steering in some of those tight sections. But that's for me, I'm not tweaking as much. I feel pretty good. My base it up. I mean, I'm just trying to get more time. I don't have the time on the car. And again, the last few races where we had no opportunity to practice on Thursday has been kind of kicking me in the ass because I have this litany of things I want to test. But if we don't practice on Thursday, I kind of need Friday to make sure I feel comfortable enough with the track. I was really looking forward to what would have been the May race, the Northeast Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same layout as the opener, and I really liked that layout. I'm like, cool. I felt pretty comfortable with the layout. I'm like, I could spend all day Thursday testing stuff. And Mother Nature said, oh, no, you don't.
yeah, that was nice because you knew what your lap times were from the previous race. So you're like, I have 2 days to see if I can improve this car. And yeah, Mother Nature gave us the big FU. I was in the same boat. I was like, I'm going to get 2 days. I'm going to throw everything at this car. It took a day off of work, and I stared out my trailer at the rain for a full day, pissed off.
Yeah, I hate rebuilding my cars right before a race weekend. I don't do mine this week because the last 2 times I'm like, shit, I'm here all day Thursday, twiddle my thumbs. I could have totally rebuilt my cars to the track. I had all day to do it. In the meantime, but whatever.
I want
That was me. Work clubs.
I want to say how vital that Thursday can be too, when you just want to try things and figure out your car, figure out your setup. And that's what I keep telling a lot of people. Like, for one, get out to LCRC if you haven't yet, and two, if you have the capability to go out there Thursday morning or Wednesday night or whatever, do it, because that's when you really learn stuff. Because you guys are, there's a lot of fast guys around the pits that are super friendly, that if you have a question, you can ask them, especially if they have the same brand you're running or whatever. That it's a very good time to just learn a whole bunch, learn a whole bunch, and then really get some good track time with your car. Friday's a little tricky because that's when, pretty much everyone's there. So you're looking at the 5 to 15 or even 20-minute lines to get out and practice, which, you know, isn't that fun. But Thursday, it's almost get up and go.
But it makes a huge difference, right? Because you can try 3 times as many things.
Yeah, I mean,
in
you
the same
can
period of time.
put a pack in your car, change tires, and then go back up the stand. You know, come Friday at 5 o'clock, you can't do that because by the time you get back out there, the track's going to be different.
I want to interview somebody. Taylor, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Let's reverse the roles. I'm interviewing you now.
All right.
Like, what are your?
So you got to fuck one, marry one, kill one. How about that?
just stepbrothers?
Yeah. So Matt, what do you make before taxes? What do you got
like
for
what
questions?
classes do you run? Because did you say Mike ran a nitro car of yours? But I think I've only ever. Do you have a nitro buggy or do you have a nitro truck?
A nitro buggy.
Oh, do you? I don't think I've ever seen your nitro buggy.
It sits on the table. You come and harass me.
You never pay attention.
Yeah.
Too concerned about
Yeah.
yourself.
It's sitting right
I
behind him
don't
right
wanna
now,
mention.
in frame.
Yeah.
He's got a picture of it on the wall.
Oh yeah.
I can't see that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's got the
Picture
tiny
Sponsored
screen.
by 46 RC. It's all right. So,
So what do you
yeah,
run,
go ahead.
what do you run mostly?
Nitro buggy. I run just the expert class, and then e-truck. They're my 2 favorite classes, probably. They're both super competitive, and leaves a lot of room for improvement for myself. Then I like running 10 scale as well, like short course truck, mini truggy, things like that. They're just a lot of fun. There are classes to me where I don't feel as challenged, and I actually don't even do setups. Like my mini truggy is the same fluid I've got in it from sometime last year, and it's the same diff combo that I ran at Macon Tracks that I ran at LCRC, and like because Matt, you know, you've been to Macon Tracks. Like the setup that I have in my mini truggy and short course truck are the same that I ran at Macon Tracks that I'm also putting on an LCRC track.
How does
But
that
you
work?
know,
Making tracks can be such high grip.
absolutely high grip and tight little track. But hey, it puts me on the podium each time.
Just behind
Sometimes
me.
in front of that guy. Yeah.
Only once.
Okay.
So you don't run e-buggy? Like, it's like the
No, I
most
don't.
popular class. Oh my goodness, we got to do something about that.
So I'm gonna mostly just stick to 2 classes because I'm so busy, man. Between helping Kevin water the track, everything else that kind of comes up, and pitting all the other people, you know, Toby, and then there's a couple other people that show up. Whether I'll help Cody if Zach isn't there, Lutz if he's there, Jamie if he needs help. And then also I want to be available to help other people too. So if they come up with Mugen car or something like that and they need help, I want to put myself available, not always just on the stand running, you know, like Butter's marathon man of 6 different classes or something like that. I can't do that.
Tell you what, though, there's something to be said about finding a class. Like I ran oval a few times and some other stuff. Like you have no expectations of yourself, and maybe it's just it just you do it for the pure joy of doing it.
Yeah.
And I do get a kick out of watching you guys kind of battle in short course. I know Toby's part of that. I kind of have that same rivalry with Matt, right? We have a lot of fun with it. Is what it is, you know. You just kind of go for it. We want to do well, but it is what it is. But I like the idea of having a class that you can just say, "This is the car. I want to throw it out there. Have fun with my friends." It's like going back to the early days of racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a blast in expert nitro buggy. Like I am completely outgunned in that class. Like I remember Q1 I was running with like Shref, trying to think who else, Harmer, and then like a whole bunch of those guys. Like I can't keep pace with those guys. Like come on. But it's still a blast for me just to throw down, maybe attempt to tail them for like a corner or two, and then I'm learning about myself, and I'm progressing because I like the idea of like one big open class. I'm not so much for the small like handout trophy, participation trophies, and things like that. I don't care if I win or not, but I feel like being in around the experts and all that, it's going to make me better as a driver instead of running sportsman or intermediate, something like that. I'd rather get my ass kicked, but be faster. That's my view on things.
Well, I like
What
the
do you-
one thing you said about everybody being in one class. Like, I don't get me wrong, I enjoy running 40 plus. I'd
Mhm.
be okay if there wasn't a 40 plus class, if we all ran one class. My only request to that would be is mains have to be equitable. And that's the one thing that the reason I run 40 plus is I want to have the double A mains, or I want to have that 25-minute nitro main. Because if I'm in the B, I'm getting, I mean, probably gonna get 6 minutes, 15 maybe. So I think if there's a way to make that more equitable at all tracks, I know it's something we tried to do at Rhythm. Um, you could put everybody all together, and I think everybody be content. Because I'd love to see where I stack up against everybody. But it's hard to do it when, I'm likely, if I'm in that expert class, I'm likely in the C main somewhere, and I'm going to have a 6-minute nitro race. Not very attractive.
No, I'm all for 40 plus. Don't get me wrong. When I say open, I just mean like get rid of the intermediate and just keep it all open. But
But I think you could put it all together. I think
Yeah.
there's issues
I
having it all
disagree.
together, because I'd like to see. I mean, look, you guys are doing like a top 25 list, right? How you'd be able to really have good feedback on it. And I don't think most people would be. Again, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'd love to just, as long as the times were equitable, I'm all for it.
I
Mhm.
was actually thinking on how to like make that work at a LCRC size race. Like if you just had like you could still have 40 plus, but it was just e-buggy, you know? And like you said, Tom, you'd have to make it fair with main times. Even electric too, you know, you're going to want 10 minutes, but if you could have everyone qualify together, one open class, so say you have 130 entries in e-buggy, and we did our qualifiers, qualifying's done. If you took like the A through C sort, you're like, okay, now this is like the fast sort, and then you're like D through E, and this, or D through F, I guess. Then this would be like your B sort of guys. So then instead of having all the way down to a G main, now they're like kind of like they do at Roar, I guess, where they're like 32nd finalists and 16th final, or however the hell they do that shit. But it would get weird, I think, how I'm thinking in my head, because then like in Williard's defense, I'm not trying to pick on you, Matt, but just because you had this happen when you have bad luck in qualifying and you end up qualifying down low, here you are, an A-sort driver that just had bad luck in qualifying and you were able to bump the whole way up. But if we did it my way and you had bad luck in qualifying, now you're down with the novice level drivers as this A-sort guy. And so, but yeah.
But that's part of the game. I don't know what the right answer to that, Alex, is.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I guess spitballing it quickly. If you have 10 hours allotted for running your mains, right? You have all day Sunday from 8 a.m. to 5 to run your mains, call it 9 hours, and you have X amount of entries divided into how many minutes you have total. And then based upon how many minutes for that class fall in there, you set mains up accordingly. So if you have, 100 entries in e-buggy, maybe that means everybody gets a 7-minute main. Or maybe you give the A main 8 minutes,
Yeah.
and give the other one 7 minutes. I'm okay with pulling from one to give to the other, but there's probably a formulaic way to just put in a spreadsheet and say, hey, there's this many entries, this much time, each entry's allotted this amount of time, and you just work the numbers backwards.
Yeah, that's like not a bad idea on paper, but I think in practice, you're gonna get a lot of gripes. Like if we did that, if anyone did that, especially when you got to the point of pulling, making your 25-minute Nitro A main into a 20-minute A main, so we can spread the minutes down in the D's and the E sorts of Nitro. Then, because I know Nitro guys, not like saying bad or anything, but they really like their 25-minute A main because it's glorious. So, I mean, I
get it.
I think we're on the right
most,
track.
I think most.
I'm gonna shank you in the trailer if you don't give me my 25 minutes. I know where you sleep, Alex.
I think most. I know. I tell you, I'd be happy to give up the time. I think it's only fair to the other guys that are there, right?
Yeah.
We need the new racers to want to come out.
Yeah.
And
No.
shame on us if we're not finding a way to accommodate them, because look, if you're a new guy, you're not getting a 25-minute main. You're going to take you a while to get there. Well, let's make it worth their while to come out.
Yeah.
Because if you're driving from Connecticut to come to LCRC to race, and you're driving 5 or 6 hours, and you're running one class, and you're looking at 2 5-minute qualifiers, 3 5-minute qualifiers, and a 6-minute main in your Nitro car, that's a pretty big investment for a short amount of
It
track
is.
time. I just think there's a way to make it better. There's got to be a way to make it better. And again, I'd be all for a 15-minute Nitro main for the A if that gave everybody else 12 or 15.
And even on a local level, it's like, I mean, I don't know how it is at your track, Tom, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, but pretty much at all like your local regional tracks, your 50 to 80 entry races of your local guys, like, again, not talking shit or anything, but it's usually like the same group of guys that are in the B main, the same group of guys that are in the A main, and they're like two very distinctly different paces, you know? Like, you might have your one guy that BQs, but then he has no problem putting a lap on the whole B main and bumping. But so like I get, you know, these are just little pieces of plastic with a sticker on them or whatever, but when we spend thousands of dollars on cars, it's nice to have something to show for it, even if it is a $4 plaque, you know? And so speaking for the intermediate and even novice side drivers, it's kind of, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it's kind of a put down when you're week in, week out trying to get faster, but you're always racing against guys that have been doing this for 20 years and might have a lot of support from sponsors and stuff, so they can have the ability to spend more money and do more testing and be faster. And then, but you know that you're never going to get this $4 plaque. You know what I mean? But it's also not about the trophies either. You know, it's not. It's about the camaraderie, but.
No, it's fair. Everybody has different motivations for why they come out, right? You just, you're trying to find a way to satisfy those motivations.
Yeah.
And look, we're not going to just solve this right now. I'd love to have this conversation over a few beers next week.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe it is. Hey, if you're only doing awards, you only do really one set of awards. If you only have everybody in one class for the same buggy instead of having it for multiple ones, well, it doesn't mean you can't. Can't you give an award out then for the top 3 in the B and the top 3 in the C?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the right
that.
answer is, but
Well, I know Motorama back in the day, they did when they did double lower mains, and so your first round of lower mains was for the bump, and then the second round of lower mains was just everyone that didn't bump, and then first place out of that got the plaque for that corresponding main. And I mean, now you're adding a whole bunch to the program, of course, but that was kind of nice how they did that. But
absolutely.
Anywho's, Tom, I'd like to pick your brain about your track, if you don't mind.
Hit me.
So how long have you been? Tell the viewers what you do with your track. Where's it at? What's it called?
Yeah, so I retired a few years ago, and there was a local guy that had a local track right down here. He started opening up a carpet track, indoor carpet place. Place isn't real big. He didn't keep the place very long. I jumped into it, so I opened up a carpet track, Rhythm RC, down in Hamilton. So I was kind of doing that on my free time. Got a good group of local racers. Had that going for a while. I've been friends with Jim Lilly for years, since the family hobby days. Jim got us a hookup for some land where we could build an outdoor track out in Clayton, New Jersey, which is near him. And that's kind of what we're doing now. This is our second year with the outdoor track. I think our 4th year. I do the indoor track solely. I think this is my 4th year with the indoor track. And then this is our second year with the outdoor track. Focused on club racing. So we have, again, fortunate with a good group of people. I'm one of those guys. I like to be at the track all day if the entry count and racing warrants it. I don't want to be at the track all day because we're dilly-dallying. So I try to run the program, roll through it pretty quick. I mean, hell, we had a race earlier this year. We had 170 entries, which I was scared shitless about because we don't have lights. I'm like, this is a lot to get in.
Yeah.
In a short period of time, we had 170 entries. We got it in. 2 rounds of qualifying mains for everybody, and we were done by 8:15.
That's awesome. It got dark. That's awesome.
But no, that's kind of like a retirement job for me. Just keeps me busy, gives me something to do a few days a week. I go out there and tinker. I love, meeting all the racers and having a good time with everybody, and made a ton of friends, and keeps me occupied.
So you did.
What's your long term?
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Matt.
What's your long term plan? Like you said, oh, we don't have lights. Like, are you going to try to build it up? At some point, add lights, bigger driver stand. Like, are you trying to get to a certain point? Like, I don't know. Like, are you trying to get to an LCRC, or are you just trying to keep it club race feel?
I definitely want to keep a club race feel. I mean, look, ultimately, it is a good fair amount of work to do it. And if I wanted to, I think about having a hobby shop and all this other stuff. But quite frankly, if I my natural instinct is to want to progress and expand and go further. But I'm also trying to do this to relax and enjoy the hobby. And I think one way to not like your hobby anymore is to make it your job.
Mm-hmm.
And I sure as hell don't want to make it that type of thing. I'm having a good time with it right now. I don't want to be LCRC. Those guys they're awesome. They got a good crew of people. They're able to do it, and it's hard on them. I don't foresee us doing something like that. It's just not what I would expect. And look, I like the club racing, and I like seeing the club racing grow. I mean, we've picked up a few other local tracks right now. They're running Park Lane Hobbies is doing an awesome job out there in PA. I see a lot of racers from my track that I know were new to racing, started with us, now traveling to trains and lanes. They're going to Park Lane. They're coming out to LCRC. So it's good for the hobby as a whole. But I think our lane is to foster the newer, the club racer, as well as
Right.
having, seasoned racer out there.
Oh, that's awesome. And so you started with the carpet track, like that's where
Yes.
you took ownership. What like obstacles did you have when you first? Or let me start over. Did you ever do any like help with tracks, any volunteering, any race directing or maintenance before you got into the ownership of the carpet track?
So not really. I mean, I'd help out whenever I could, but I started racing at Family Hobbies about 10 years ago. I really didn't race RC prior to about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So, and if you guys, I don't know if you guys knew Ron Borman, but Ron from Family Hobbies is pretty, a lot of history in the hobby. And he was one of those guys. He built a new track every year with a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and he didn't like help. So I really didn't have an opportunity to help him. So really, just kind of watching others and making a lot of mistakes and figuring it out as I go.
What do you feel is the biggest mistake that gave you your greatest lesson from it throughout your experience thus far?
That's a great question. I don't I without sounding arrogant, I don't think we've made a ton of big mistakes. Try to be well thought out the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, at the end of the day, the focus of my tracks are for that newer upcoming racer. So we don't try to make them overly complex. We just want to make it a good atmosphere and a good time. And I think, fortunately, when we've had issues like this last weekend, I had a few things in the layout I ended up not liking at the end of the day. The racers were all cool. They gave us feedback, and it's just a laid back atmosphere. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything specific I could say. Oh, that was a big mistake. We tried to be as well thought out as we could,
Right.
the whole way through.
And it helps when you have a great group of racers that will gladly give you input and help out at least verbally, saying what they like or don't like.
Are all willing to pitch in too.
That's awesome.
And they're welcome to new racers, which is awesome. I love seeing new
That's
guys
awesome.
come in and like these guys. I have new guys walking and never been there before, and I'll have 3 or 4 guys in the pit area come up once and introduce, hey, I'm Brian. Nice to meet you. Shaking their hand or whoever.
That's great.
And right away they're helping them, which is awesome.
What do you have you came across anything as being a track owner and all that you felt like was more hard, or there was more moving parts than you ever thought? Like, oh, I didn't realize this would be so hard, or I didn't realize this would take so much, or anything like that?
There's a lot of interaction with people in the public that want to get into the hobby that have a ton of questions. So the social media side, I find myself doing that a lot more than I want to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to try to keep people updated, and it's an important part of it. But you get a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So that takes a little bit more time. I kind of said it jokingly before, but it's truthful. It impacts the hell out of your race program.
It does, yeah.
I can't. I mean, you feel it doing what you're doing. I can't. I rarely race on my track. I don't think I've ever even fired up my Nitro car at my track because there's just so much going on. There's no way in hell I have the ability to do it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's not a woe is me type of thing, because I have as much fun seeing new people come out with their families, enjoying the hobby and having fun, and seeing new people get into it.
Right. Yeah.
That's very rewarding.
What are the normal questions you get all the time that you have to answer, Tom? And do you want to answer those now for a couple of listeners that might be new or planning to come to your track?
It's a lot of setup advice. It's how do I do this on my car? What motor do you recommend? Those type of things. So I can't think of anything necessarily specifically. I mean, it's the transponder things, how racing works, but I'm kind of, you put me on the spot. I can't think off the top of my head. Oh, this is the question I get all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure once I disconnect from this or in like 2 minutes now, I'll think about it, but so be it.
So you do all the race directing there too, right?
Most of it. Jim's grandson helps out a good bit. Jackson,
Okay.
he's doing a really good job, so I love having him there to help out. On the indoor track, I get Reem will call some races for me, so I have a chance to race. Paul Dalton will call races for me, so I get a chance to run a little bit there. But
Yeah.
I got a little bit of help, and there's always people willing to help. My problem is I'm not the best at asking people for help. I'm one of those, I'll wake up in the morning, I'm like, what am I going to get into today? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go change the layout of the indoor track, and I'll just hop in the car, go down there, and spend 6 hours and change the layout.
Uh-huh. Now, with your race directing, did you do any of it before you got into all this?
Never.
So did you just kind of do trial by fire? Did you like ask around, or was there anyone that like really helped out, gave you the runaround, and taught you how to do everything? Or
Well, there are always people I could. I mean, look, Lifetime's really good for resources and how to use the software. I could always ask them. And then I had people like Thomas Kaufman, Ezra. Those guys were real helpful. If I needed help with something on the timing system, they would point me in the right way.
mm-hmm.
Frankly, most of it's pretty intuitive. I mean, if I can figure it out, any monkey can do it. I mean, Mac could probably even open a track.
It'd have to be outdoor though, because of his ass.
Yeah, you don't want Matt in enclosed space.
No one can substantiate that. Come on.
No, but
I mean,
Thomas and
you
Ezra
said,
are a
Matt, you
huge help. They're still. I'm still learning stuff off of them here and there. They still teach me things, but
How'd your new dirt work out, Tom?
So far, so good. Worked real well. Still got a few little things we got to work with it, but I mean, it doesn't tear up like the other one. There's definitely less dust.
What's
Yeah.
different about it?
Just what we were using before was the native topsoil that was there,
Okay.
and some of it was pretty strong, and it would get rock hard. Other areas would be very, very loose, almost like a powder, and it would just break apart until you got to the lower layers.
Yeah.
So we struggle with the track. I mean, and it's funny. A lot of guys like when a track gets rough. How many guys have been down to Fall Brawl in the new arena down there? They were rebuilding that track every night. I mean, if there were 20 heats, by heat number 8, you were all the way on the outside edge trying to stay out of the bumps. Well, my track definitely developed a lot of character, which is it's doing a lot better now with that. Jump faces stay better and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take all the dirt and just lay it on top of what you had pre-existing and kind of like mix it in, or
We mixed
just
it in,
leave
yeah,
it in certain areas? Okay.
No, we did the whole area and then raked it all out, raked it all in with a tractor on the rake, and then grader box, just trying to integrate it the best we could.
Do you add any foreign fluids or anything? Like do you sugar or soap or anything like that?
No, we got some stuff from VP last year to help cut back on the dust, which worked somewhat, but the topsoil we had it was so fine, it was like powder.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing I didn't like. I mean, I could deal with everything else. I mean, people were okay with the track building character. We'd rebuild it every week if we had to, but the dust was terrible. So we're not treating it with anything to answer your question at this point. We have some stuff from VP that we do put down. I do want to try some of the soap and things like that to see if that works because I think this new dirt's going to stay together much better. It's got certainly more clay content in it. And I think it's bigger material overall, so it shouldn't get as dusty. Just one of the things on the list, we're waiting to get a pump to do all that.
Of course, yeah.
If you plan on using the VP Stay Wet, again, reach out to Alex Sturgeon of the Hobbytown Hobbyplex. He's
Okay.
got a method that he talked about for using that. Very nice guy, and he'll go over his method to help you out. Or anyone else
Alex-
that's listening to this.
What
Alex
was his name again?
Sturgeon.
Alex Sturgeon, okay.
Yep.
And back to I try not to use sugar. I'm trying not to use a lot of chemicals. Look, again, being focused on club racing, yeah, I can put sugar down and it'll hold the track together. But now I have guys that are wearing out a set of tires on a
Right.
club race weekend, and now you just made it very cost prohibitive. I'd rather have less traction because it's the same for everybody, and have a set of tires that'll last you 3 race weekends than sugar it and you're smoking a set of $60 or $70 tires
Right, yeah.
on a race weekend. That hurts.
No, yeah, of course. At WOCRC, we don't have currently. I mean, I think Josh experimented with it a few years ago, but ever since I started helping, we haven't done any sort of anything. Our dirt's really high in the clay content, so as long as we get ahead of it on watering, usually stays together pretty well. I mean, if we build a bad jump or a bad obstacle, then that'll fall apart. Or, you know, I'm sure you understand, you build something out of powder, it's not going to stay together. But so we still make mistakes on that part, but I feel like the surface itself stays together pretty well as long as we keep up with water. But that's one thing I've been learning. What, Matt?
That dirt's magic. WOCRC's dirt. If he could find more of that, that stuff is pure magic.
It came from up on the hill.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable. It's not pure clay. I think it lost a little bit of grip, and you know, like from the time he started till now, a tiny bit for whatever reason. But in general, it just always makes the same pretty decent level of grip. Hot, cold, wet. I mean, we used to be able to run slicks there. I've seen slicks run at night.
We were on slicks at the June race, or no, May race. Whatever. Fuck. Not this last race, the race before when we had to sawdust. I wasn't on slicks, but there were a few people on slicks during the mains. But yeah, always, anytime the lights go down, you can still run slicks and TQ and win no problem. But yeah, I mean, I've been learning a lot on that track building side and learning how much of a pain in the ass it is. But it's fun.
Keep experimenting, that's all.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And I'd love to, like, any time at LCRC or something, we can have a beer or something, bullshit on it more, because I'm sure we have some methods we can share with each other, maybe learn something, or I don't know.
I'm going to have beer, not for this race, but for the next race. Everybody kicks Matt's ass this weekend. He's going to owe me beer anyway, so it'll work out good.
Perfect.
Not happy.
But I'm not drinking Keystone.
That's fine.
I have standards.
Tom, do you think you're gonna sweep in both Nitro Buggy and E-Buggy, or no?
Stop right there with the
sweep as in beat Matt, absolutely. Not beat Don Williard and all the other guys over there that have been kicking ass.
Yeah.
Don had a little meltdown in Nitro last time, though. He had a little bit of trouble.
Is he still leading in points, Don?
Well, no. Well, probably for Nitro. I didn't race Nitro the first race of the year, so I'll never be in the points race for that.
Don is.
Are there any drops? Are there any drops in this series at all, or not?
No.
Yeah, so I got to miss 2 races. I'm missing you getting another one, so I'm SO anyway. I'm leading electric right now, so I'm going to hold on to that as long as I can. But
so we've been talking a lot about 8 scale, but do you guys? I mean, Tom, you own a carpet track, but do you guys run 10 scale in the winter?
I'm going to try it again this winter. This will be the 3rd time I try carpet again. I did it in winter of 23. I bought a B64 at the time, right before the B7 dropped, of course. And I think I raced it once or twice, and then never went back because I was like, carpet's not that fun. And then I bought the Mugen car. I raced that 3 times, I think. Smoked my motor. Didn't have that much fun. So, quit doing that. Car was great. I don't blame the car. And then, but now, because Chris Patterson's talking all this shit about 2-wheel drive short course, so I got a ProStar truck I'm going to build into a 2-wheel drive short course, and got to go whoop up on him. I'm going to try the on-road thing. I'm going to get a mod touring car and see if it picks up, but.
Tell you what's awesome about carpet, not only is a car clean when you come off there, it's so much easier in that regard. From a learning setup standpoint, it's so consistent.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So you get to pick up so much running carpet. It all starts coming together there.
Mike's the biggest carpet guy I know of nowadays.
It's actually really funny that Tom said that, to where I went to Richfield for the first time, and Matt was there, and I was struggling. I didn't have pace. Like I couldn't really do anything. Matt takes one look at my car and he's like, "Nope, change this." And they instantly gained like 2.5 seconds a lap. It was just wild. But
what sort of things did you have to do to change it? Were you trying to go with like a dirt setup in mind, Mike? Or?
No, it was a carpet setup. but it wasn't carpet enough. Like there's so much grip on carpet that the car just wouldn't turn. So you're always waiting for it to turn. Because there was too much rear grip essentially. Matt, we basically loosened up the entire rear end of the car pretty drastically, and it allowed it to just naturally rotate. And that made all the difference. It actually drove through a turn. You know what I mean? But yeah, and it's funny, like learning all that stuff that you taught me, Matt, translating it to 8 skill, it's made a world of a difference. Like it really opened my eyes to realize that it's not that my car doesn't have steering or it's pushing in the front. It's because the rear end most likely has too much grip. So I always go back to like what you taught me that day, to where I'm loosening up the rear ends of my car and it's making them faster and better.
What's funny,
But by the same token, you see guys struggle a lot of times with rear grip, and I tell them maybe your front of your car is too damn stuck, and the rear's got nowhere to go but sideways. So sometimes guys are like, I'm trying to add more rear grip to my car because the car is loose, and sometimes it's maybe you have too much front and you got to take it out. Like Tom mentioned, cutting back on your dual rate. But you're right. Like I've been dirt forever, right? And you learn, and in dirt, you're always like, where do I add grip to this car? And then you go to carpet, and you're like, now I have to do the opposite of everything I learned because I've got to take it out of this car. But it helps, right? It helps every little feature from camber, your camber links to your ride height to everything to really grasp this is what happens when I go this direction. And it helps, like when you have to learn to go both directions, when you go back out to dirt, you're like, I know what I want to change. I know how I think I can make this better. I'm with Alex. Like carpet's okay. I do it because there's a lot of people going nowadays.
It's the only thing to do.
Trend.
There's barely any dirt tracks.
Well, Alex, you're in Somerset, right?
More towards Pittsburgh, but I'm by Seven Springs.
So at some point, like Jim and Scott will go to Mimi's.
Yeah.
Probably twice a month. You have to try it.
No, I missed out on it this year, but I want to go bad.
Well, I'm a dirt guy, and that place is really fun. Even though they've leveled it and they use wooden jumps, it works, and it's a lot of fun. And it's basically one tire.
Well, I had a blast going to Adrenaline. I went 3 times this past year. I'm going to try to go once a month. Probably start in November and go once a month until April. Because that's only 2 hours from me, so I can, if it's not 170 entry race day, it's not a bad day trip. But that one we all went to when we were racing till like 1 in the morning, that was a rough drive home.
Oh man, I know that was rough.
And Taylor, even when you came, Taylor came like 4 hours away and day tripped it, and it was like half the entries, but still,
it was like 6.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Well, Taylor, when you're ready to go, you're in the Jersey side. I'll meet up with you. We'll find a way down there because it's a haul. It's 5 hours. I wish I had the dirt track that was within 2 or 3 hours of me for the wintertime. I'd be stoked. But
I think we're planning on going to Adrenaline for their invitational race in October. But that's outdoor,
I may try to sneak. I got to miss the October race. I got 2 weddings, one in August and one in October. So I'll try to fit other races in.
We'll have to get together in the wintertime, though, and try to see if we can get a big group from LCRC to head down there in the wintertime. That'd be a good time. We had a nice group from the Pittsburgh guys that came down for, the January race or something. Yeah. And that was I had a blast. Yeah. But I'm out of stuff to talk about, gentlemen.
I have one more thing for Matt Williard.
Uh-oh.
So, Matt, I alluded to it a little earlier. It was, we weren't recording yet, but I know you've been doing. Well, you found out a lot of information about silicone oils that a lot of us, may have thought was a thing, but you actually have numbers to it all now. Where the whole brand thing actually drastically matters.
Oh yeah,
oils.
Yeah, I bought Associated makes it's called the diff decoder. And it's essentially a tool to check the resistance in your diffs. I think Sky RC makes one too, don't they? I think Sky RC has one.
Yeah.
I hear that as long as you use the same one all the time, it works. The difference in numbers between the two are different, I hear, but as long as you stick with one. But I bought a diff decoder. I bought it more so to try to test the difference between LTC and HTC. So you put the same oil in an HTC and an LTC. What does the decoder tell you? And I had an idea what it would tell me, but there was a lot of interesting things I learned. So, I use associated oils, and not just because I'm an associated guy, but like every hobby shop has them. It's like I can go somewhere and pick up AE oils. If I were a PT racing guy, I got to make sure I'm ordering it, right? So AE oils they don't have a lot of intermediary numbers, right? It's 3, 5, 7, 10, 15. And you would think that when you go from say 10 to 15 that you're making a 50% jump over 10, and you're not. According to the diff decoder, you're not. You're making like a 15 to 20% jump. So the big thing I learned though is I was buying, because AE didn't make in between oils, I'd go to get a Flashpoint 12,000 or a Huddy 12.5 or a PT 18, thinking I was between an AE 15 and a 20 for like if I'm talking about the 18, not even close. The viscosity between some of these manufacturers is so different. For example, I bought a 12,000 Huddy oil, thinking I wanted to go slightly heavier than 10 AE, but not 15. According to my diff decoder, Huddy 12 is actually less than AE 10.
Wow.
And the PT 18 I got was much less than an AE 15. So when you're trying to find those oils, your better bet is to stick with the same oil all the time so that you really know if you're higher or lower, unless you have a decoder and you want to get really nerdy and take every different oil you have in viscosity and start writing it down and knowing, oh, I need to go from 400 on this decoder to 450. What do I need to do? So that was really interesting. I think we all knew it. We had heard rumors in the past, like with shock oil, that low C shock oil is much lighter than AE shock oil or whatnot.
Well,
But
there's the
as
shock
far as-
oil chart I use all the time. That tells you the actual CST of each brand. I
Yeah.
use that every time I have to do anything. If I don't have that brand I need, but I have another brand and whatever.
Yeah, and it when you're new, you really don't think, you're like, yeah, that can't make a difference. It's not mattering. It does. It makes a big difference.
yeah.
And I'm not busting on Flashpoint, but like Flashpoint, because I know it's a Mugen brand, in terms of viscosity, might be the lightest oil out of them all. If you have a Flashpoint 10 or like whatever they call it, like 10,000, do they put CSTs or they put like a number like a 10,000, right, for diff oil?
Well,
right?
I think that's the CST.
That is the
Flashpoint
CST.
runs, all CSTs.
So if you take a 10,000 CST Flashpoint, that is significantly lower than an AE 10,000. Significantly lower. So
What would you
if
rate it
you're
as?
off Flashpoint,
Like compared to like an 8,000 or what?
less than that even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably closer to a 10 or a 7 on AE side.
Wow.
So, and there's nothing wrong with Flashpoint, but my point is, if you're going to use Flashpoint, use all of Flashpoint. And that way you know that you're either truly going up or truly going down, or you're going up at a certain level. Because if you're like, well, I don't have 10,000 Flashpoint and I want to go from 7 Flashpoint to 10, if you pick up an AE 10, you've gone way higher than you think you have, and vice versa. So
then
I have it.
That's also,
go ahead.
Go
Mike.
ahead.
so that's one of those things to where like now we run into the situation to where like, you and Tom are running the same car, right? Tom's may not be running AE oils, theoretically, to say Tom's not, and Tom's running 10.75, right? And you want to run his diff setup, but you run a different brand oil. You're like, well, what the hell? Like, you can't just put 10.75 of your brands in your car. It's
Right,
not going
and
to be what Tom's running.
That's a great point. So when these guys go out to Pettit RC or So Dialed, it's important for them to pay attention if it's even marked on the sheet what oils they did use in their diffs, because they can say 10-10-7, but you really got to know what they were running. If they were running Flashpoint 10-10-7, you're probably
That's like
running something close
7.75.
to 7.75 in AE
Yeah.
to get the same effect. And that's why I bought the decoder. I kind of figured that. For the most part, I bought it because I was trying to mix LTC and HTC, and I knew that, generally speaking, LTC required about twice the oil viscosity that an HTC did to make the same resistance. And then I found out that that's not even true. That as the oils go up, as you get into like, say, an AE 15, 20, 30, 30 is not truly twice 15. According to the decoder, 30 is only about 50% more than 15 on the number scale. So you get, in your head, you start to think, oh, I went to school. 15 is half of 30. Yes, in numbers, but in the viscosity of these oils, it's not that way. You've only gone up. And that's why like AE will make a 15, 20, 30, and they don't have a 25. But I think that's for a reason, because the difference between 20 and 30 is not as big as you think it is. It's just the next step up. But anyway, I could go on forever about that. It was fascinating.
That's one of those things that you're asking silly questions, Taylor. It's like people asking, what shock oil do you run? You might have a different car. They don't ask what kind of pistons you have, what spring you're using. So
It's Joey
all about
Bourdon's favorite
You got
question.
to be consistent.
It is Joey's favorite question.
Wanna text
No,
Matt?
answer
It
it
says
though.
they're unavailable online. Do you know if they're coming back in stock, or what's the story on those?
I don't. And actually, because I have an AE deal, I would have loved to have bought it through AE, but it was out of stock when I got it too. So I actually paid it on my own dime because I wanted it bad enough.
Where'd you
So,
get yours? I'm gonna buy one like right now, actually.
HRP, you can buy directly from HRP, and HRP
Okay.
had one.
Do
I'm
you-
sure other places have it too. The other thing is Sky RC makes them. You can check the Sky RC version. Now, they're different, but as long as you're using yours and you're notating your numbers, you know where you're at. But like I hear that, like if you use the Sky RC on a 10K AE diff, it's going to have a different number than my AE one. But that's okay, because you just have to start. I have them written down in a spreadsheet, so I know in general
Yeah,
where
you
they're
just
at.
got to know your reference there.
Yeah.
Right.
Granted, I'll do my own chart and stuff, but it'd be nice to compare like a couple
Oh, yeah.
numbers with you or somebody else that has the same machine and all that.
Yeah.
So I think data is very good. Matt, you ever use yours to see the difference, like after you've used a diff, to see the difference between when it was installed new and however many runs you got on it? What are you finding there for results?
No, I haven't, and I'm embarrassed because that's what I should be doing. Because that's another thing we need to know. Like when you had mentioned about like maintenance, there's midday maintenance you have to do on a race. Like I typically change after practice. I change my center diff fluid because it comes out of that car black. But what I should be doing is testing it to say, all right, what's my front now? Did it degrade by more than 50%? Because if it did, I need to replace that before I go back out for qualifying.
That'd be
too.
the really fun thing to know.
Yeah. But it's like anything else. Like, do I feel like, my car felt good. I'm ready for Saturday. Do I feel like tearing it apart to get it a diff just to test the numbers? Half the time I'm like, no, I'm going to crack a beer, grab some food, go bust Tom's balls, and then I'll worry about qualifying. But I should be taking it apart and checking it.
Matt, I would like to offer up my 2-wheel diff because you know how black that was with some metallic flake in it. That was really funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Matt, so based
If that's
off
on your 2-wheel drive, though, if that's on your 2-wheel drive, most of that is for you. If you're using the aluminum hub, the aluminum plate on the end, the diff cover, that's where that
the
aluminum's
V7.
coming from. So mine comes
Yeah.
out. I could just change it, and 2 seconds later, it looks like anti-seize compound.
Yeah, it was very metallic-y. It was kind of funny looking. Yeah. Matt was giving me a hard time. It had one day on it, and it was burned, gone.
So, Matt, based on your data and your research, in my super light short course, I have AE 60K in it now, and I want to go up to 80K. Alonzo has 80K in his, and he loves it. I assume it's AE. I don't know. But I bought Flashpoint 80 and Flashpoint 100. Would you recommend me just go ahead and put 100 in it? Because in theory, that should get me closer to that 80K.
Yeah, I would. And I have a great story to relate to that because a couple years back, you couldn't get 200,000 for AE, and I wanted to run that in my wheeler, in the center diff of the wheeler, but it was out of stock forever. So I was like, I'm just going to go grab 200. Kevin had it at the store, so I grabbed it off the shelf. I built the diff, and you know how it is. You put it in your hand, you start twisting it, and I was like, whoa, this does not feel like 200. And then I grabbed, I had 2 cars at the time. I grabbed the other car that had a 200 in it, and it was significantly different in like resistance. It felt like half of the AE 200. It did. It felt, and I wish I could have measured it. It was significantly lighter. So that being said, knowing how light Flashpoint tends to run, I'd go right to 100.
Okay. That's incredible information to know.
Well, bring it. Like I have mine with me all the time. So this week, at the end of the week, when we go to that race, you'll have your short course here.
Yeah.
You can just. I mean, I know how much of a bitch it is to put a heavy oil in and then like
No,
test it and
I
then
think
swap
I
it
have a
back
whole.
out.
I think I have a whole spare center diff, so I'll just put 60K in the spare one, and I'll put 80 or 100K in the truck I'm gonna run. And
We'll measure it and we can tell you the difference. And I'll bet you it's not more than, technically that's supposed to be about 40% more, right? 100 should be 40% more than 60. And I'll bet you it doesn't, the numbers don't come out to more than 20% more from that jump from 60 to 100. I'll bet you.
interesting. That is. I feel like everything I've done has been worthless up to this point now with this information. This is incredible.
Yeah.
This is great info.
Yeah.
That tool's amazing. It was well worth it just for the knowledge. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not really, it's just a knowledge tool, but man, it makes a difference.
Because I know, like, in my oil box right now, I know I have PT diff oil, I got AE diff oil, I got some Flashpoint diff oil, because, I don't even want to call it ignorance. I mean, definition-wise it is, but, you never think any different. They all say CST on the bottle, so you just assume.
You would think that they're close, but, I had 8 PT, because I wanted to run something heavier than the AE7, but I didn't want to jump up to 10.
Yeah.
So I tested that out, and the 8 PT was less than the 7 AE. So I'm like, well, this bottle's worth it. Like, what am I going to do with it now? Because
market is 6.
Right.
Market is 6 AE.
Basically.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, because yesterday, today's Sunday, when we were at the track, I had 450 in my front shocks, and I pulled out my oils because I was talking to Gavin. I was gonna go up 100 CST, and I pulled out a bottle of 550 Flashpoint, and Gavin's like, "No, don't put that in your shocks because that's lighter than your 450. I guarantee it." I was like,
Gavin told me
all right,
that.
well, then I'll get a 525 PT. You're 25 less than what I wanted to, but yeah, that's what reminded me of that, and I wanted to talk to you about that today.
Gavin.
And again, Taylor,
told me
I'm not
about
busting on Flashpoint. It's just that
No, yeah.
in general, they are the lightest of everything. And if you're going to use Flashpoint, you better use all Flashpoint for reference because you're going to be out to lunch if you mix it in with something else.
In stock at Rotor Ron and Absolute Hobbies. I'm placing an order right now as we're talking.
And it comes with 2 things. Like it works on 10 scale. They'll give you an 8mm nut and something else where you can actually do it on 10 scale by just hooking it up to the wheel as opposed to directly to the diff.
Okay.
I haven't done that yet. I haven't tested a ball diff or a gear diff on 10 scale. I've just been using the pin attachment for age scale. But I guess you could technically, they do make an adapter. You could check an 8 scale at the wheel too. And I guess that's okay if you're lazy, but what if you had a rough bearing or a lot of resistance?
That adds a lot of variables.
Yeah, I just take the diff out in my hand and test it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
what if you?
Here's the other tip. You got to let it run for a while. If you put that thing in there and you watch the numbers go, the second you hook it up, it'll start at, say, 400. And if you hold it there for 15, 20 seconds, it'll eventually work itself down to 370.
Yeah, as it warms up.
And it goes real slow. It's a super slow rotation. So it's not like it's superheating it, but it's just mixing it up. So you got to let it run for 10, 15 seconds and then record the last number. I made that mistake a few times when I first got it.
That opens up a whole nother rabbit hole. Is now which this could have been a thing forever too. I wonder how the viscosity changes as it gets warm, what the heat sensitivity or threshold is of the different brands. Does the Flashpoint, maybe it is thinner out of all the oils per rating, but hypothetically maybe the Flashpoint stays the most consistent with temperature, or maybe it's a complete opposite. Maybe AE is the best, or maybe AE is the worst in that side. I don't know. Maybe it's not a difference at all.
Well, to Taylor's point, what we should be doing, and I've been too lazy to do it, is I should be pulling those things out. If last time I was there, I changed diffs every time I went out. I should have been checking every one of those as I pulled them out to see what changed after I did it, just to see how, even one run, did it go down 10%, 5%,
Yeah.
what? Because you're right, maybe AE degrades faster than Flashpoint does. Who knows? Butter used to say that. I don't know if he ever told you that, Tom. Butter would run crazy high diffs, and he would say, I have to because I'm constantly wheel spinning. I'm on the trigger so hard that halfway through the race, I can feel the car change. It thins out so much for him, which...
Well, I think that's heat too, right? I think a lot of that's probably going to be heat. I think everyone will react differently to heat, and that's I don't know. I like the idea. I love the feedback, man. I like you sharing it. I'm still trying to figure out what diff fluid I want to run or what shock oil, right? Like I'm trying not to overcomplicate things. But I think my takeaway from everything you're saying is it's all about consistency, right?
Right,
Use a
yeah.
consistent product.
That's the
Stay
biggest
with
thing.
one line. At least you could, as long as it's not mislabeled or misbottled, the 10,000 is going to be heavier than the 7,000.
Right, as long as you're using the same brand.
Same brand.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's consistency is definitely key.
I will say this: the last time I was at LCRC, Jim, might have been 2 races ago. Jim had a bottle of AE oil. It was shock oil, and he put it in his car, and he's like, "The car is terrible." And I was pumping on the shocks, and I said, "Are you sure you filled it with oil?" He's like, "I'm sure I filled it." I said, "Are you sure you had the right bottle?" He's like, "Yeah." He had a bottle of AE oil that either was mislabeled or went bad, and it was butter soft. And then he borrowed like my 32.5, and you could feel it in the car. There was a total difference. That's where the tool would come in help handy as well. This is shock oil, but again, if you suspect something's wrong, even though it's the brand you use all the time, you can keep checking it to say, listen, the last 5 times I checked 7,000 weight, it came out at 370. Why is this thing telling me it's 320? Did I put the wrong oil in it? Like, I need to pull this back out and figure out what's going on. It can help in that way too.
You guys were going as
Is there
light as
a difference in-
32.5 at the last event.
What's that, Taylor?
You guys were going as light as 32.5 in the shocks for
That's
the
like
last event.
450 CST, isn't it, or something? I think. In AE.
I'm bad with that because I run AE and I just know the numbers.
I can
but
look it up quick.
in the kit pistons, they recommend like, what is it, Tom? 40, 35?
30, I'm sure it's 40, 30.
40, 30.
Yeah.
So like, and this is one of the ways I tuned myself out. It was super hot, right? I had gone all the way up to 50, 40. And every time I would land on like 2 wheels, the car would bounce. And I was all over the place. And I was like, crap. So it seems low, but even in that heat, it wanted not much more than 40, 30. I think 42.5, 32.5, maybe 45, 35 at most. So it's light for those pistons.
According to this chart, AE 32.5 is 388 CST.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else ever referenced this chart. If you just Google shock oil chart, it comes up. It's RC car stuff. I've been using it for like the past 5 years.
Yeah, I've used that. The old AE bottles used to have the number and the CST on it. And for whatever reason, the new labels now don't show you the CST. They only show you the numbers, which stinks.
Are they still made by Lucas Oil? AE?
I think so.
I'm just curious. Wow. Yeah, can you get like a CST measure? Is that like a civilian attainable item? Anyone know?
It's a good question.
Because
That's a good
that's
question.
what I'd really like to
I
do.
remember reading about that. Is the temperature? There is no definitive temperature that they use for that. It measures.
Oh yeah.
It measures the viscosity.
Yeah.
But they don't have a defined temperature.
You don't know what
you're supposed to
temperature they're
test
measuring it at. Yeah.
So it's.
Well, maybe not even like relating it to the chart or any chart or whatever. I'd be curious just like with the diff oils, with this brought up information. I mean, we have your numbers from the diff checker, which are great numbers, but it's still not. It's telling us a good bit, but I feel like we're still missing some information. Because unless you're a super wizard with math and everything, you can convert this friction number into this CST number. I'm sure there's some sort of pi minus square thing to do it, but I'd love to see what the CST of Flashpoint 20K compared to AE 20K compared to PT 20K and Huddy, etc.
But then you have shaft speed and pack and pistons. We can walk over and see next week. Hopefully, he'll be there. Is Ed Bridges? I know was working on something for shocks.
Oh, okay.
He was trying to come up with a way to develop to kind of give you, because I just like that diff checker or diff decoder, excuse me, to have something you could put in there and say, okay, this piston with this oil at at different rates creates X amount of pack and everything else to be.
That'd be fun with shocks. Yeah.
Well, I'm making my head spin now. I don't even want to go clean my car and think about doing those other stuff. This is ridiculous.
You're really gonna second guess yourself putting diff oil in tonight.
I switched my tires 3 times before the meetings. I can't decide what the hell compound I want to run. I'm gonna start worrying about this shit.
Yeah.
My short course is tore. Well, I just finished building my e-buggy for this upcoming weekend, and now I'm just gonna stare at it and second guess. What brand oil did I put where? Fuck.
The other funny thing, speaking along those lines, that happened to me is, I have that trailer and I have AC in it. And the one day Jim and I were in the trailer, and it was last year. It was hot as balls outside, but we were in the trailer, and I'm in there, and I set my ride height.
Uh-huh.
I go back out right before I have to go out, and I throw it on the track, and like 10 people come up to me like, "Dude, your ride height's way off. The ass end of your buggy's dragging on the ground," because setting it in the air conditioning and then going out to like 90-degree heat.
It's like water.
I had it. Yeah, so now we've learned, like, we throw the car out on the table outside the trailer like 15 minutes before the race and set the ride height out there. Like, crackhead stuff that, like, new people look at you like, you do what? Come on, that can't make a difference. And then there's yeah.
That's even
Matt,
like...
there's
Trailer's
also a
comfy,
difference.
makes me fall asleep.
Yeah. Matt, there's also a difference of building your shocks in air conditioning versus outside, like
Yeah, because of how the
trackside.
fluid expands and
pressure
how much you
inside the
fill
shock.
and the pressure, yeah.
Yeah, the pressure inside the shock's different.
Matt, do you
So
use
you're-
a vacuum chamber or anything when you're building shocks?
I wanted to buy one of those once, but I never could justify the money for that. Like, Huddy makes a nice one.
Do you want to
And,
use mine at this upcoming event?
I mean, do you think it makes a difference? Honestly, like, sometimes I just let my shocks sit for like
That's what
a
I
half
do,
hour
yeah.
when I build them until like all the bubbles are gone. And I get it, that saves you time. But other than that, do you think it makes a big difference?
I think where it gains you is in between rounds when you're in a hurry and you want to do it. And I'm very confident that my shocks are bled correctly and the same every time.
Yeah, there's a consistency thing with it.
Yeah, I like the consistency factor, and it helps eliminate me out of that equation a little bit. So if I make like a shock CST fluid change, I know that it's not going to be me who misbled my shocks, if that makes sense.
Are you running bladder or emulsion, Tower?
I run emulsion though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where I
lots.
was trying to get myself. Because you want air in them anyway, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have you ever tried to diff inside of that thing? Because diffs have tons of bubbles that take forever to come out of
Yes.
too.
Especially when
Yep,
you use
I
like
have.
200K.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The thicker the fluid, the longer it'll take. But yeah, it definitely does. And of course, the thicker fluid traps more air underneath it too. So I'll put it in there for like sometimes, and you can set the time 15, 5. It goes by increments of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, maybe even 30. And then when I'm building a new car, I'll just toss it in there for like a long amount of time because I'm not in a hurry. But maybe at LCRC or something like that, if I'm changing diffs, which now I have a spare second set of diffs too, so I can build them ahead of time when I'm ready to tear it out and swap the diffs. I already have one loaded full of fluid, but yeah, it does help.
What do you have? Do you
Yeah.
have the Huddy one?
No,
Or
I
do you
have
have
the smart, who makes the headset stuff. I got it right here. Hold on.
Is that the one Lutz sells?
Shockmate Smart Workshop. They do
I thought it said Swedish made penis enlarger.
That's not mine. I swear.
Yeah, that helps.
Signed by Taylor DeLosa.
Custom fitted for extra small.
That's not mine.
Oops, wrong box.
That's what I used to call it. Instead of the shock pump, I call it the cock pump. I'm like, I never invested in the cock pump yet. But I didn't know, like, you know how Huddy is. Huddy, you have to give them a kidney for anything. So even on a deal, I was like, I don't want to spend the money, but I'll have to look at that. I might. I mean, if it's affordable, I'd
No,
pick one.
take it and use it.
Mike, you
for
still have
me
yours?
at the next one. Just see if you like it.
Matt, after the podcast, we'll talk.
Yeah, thanks for ruining our chances at getting sponsored by Huddy, too. By the way, Matt.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, here, I'll leaving it out. Their stuff
It's all right.
is amazing, but you're paying for amazing.
Well,
I mean,
it's
I have their
luxury.
engine.
In the
Yeah, and
name,
listen,
luxury.
their engine bearing tool. That thing is
Well,
unbelievable.
that's the
I
cat's
love that.
ass, yeah.
Yeah, so like I paid for that because that's more bang for the buck. Like the shock pump, I was like, yeah.
I forget what I
just leave
paid for
it.
the shock pump. Maybe like $325 or something like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It was that
is.
much?
Yeah.
I don't think the Huddy one was that much, to be honest with you.
Oh. I thought it
Wow.
was just slightly under. Let me look it up.
$3.25.
I
Hopefully.
don't have enough money to pay myself out of sucking this bad. I can't outspend
Uh,
it. Right, shitty.
Spend all that money just to lose a wheel.
There is some stuff Huddy makes that's super affordable that I'm surprised at. Like Mike. So Mike built a computer for my son, and I paid him. He was still going to do it for nothing, but I bought him a pit board. Huddy pit boards are amazing, and ironically, they're super affordable. Like I would have figured a pit board like that would have been $100 item, but it wasn't. It was really affordable. But some
I'm
of the
sorry, I
stuff-
was way off. It's only
I was gonna
140.
okay.
Did you buy
325
two?
that might have actually. For 325, that might have actually been a cock pump.
If anyone's interested in paying $325 for shock pump, let us know, or cock pump. We can label it slowest fast RC cock pumps.
I'll throw it in Tinkercad tonight.
Slowest fast.
Send me your size.
Slowest fast. The
Just send me what size you need.
A cock pump, slowest fast.
We're gonna sell
I-
out
I-
of extra smalls.
Uh,
Oh shit. Well, anyways.
that turned south real quick at the end of this podcast.
Biting my tongue.
I
I'm
was
trying to be
expecting
good
this
here.
whole podcast to go south with you guys. It's all right.
And Tom
I'm
asked if he
surprised
could
it took this
swear.
long.
Ugh.
Meanwhile, Tom's like, "Where can I get one of those, Taylor?"
Just message me. No pics though. I don't need pics.
For sizing?
Better yet, just message Mike.
Can you show me it on? Can you show me it on you, Taylor, so I know how it
Please
fits?
Actually, we
banana for
have that
scale?
one picture of Mike at the holding the sausage at the gas station there before we got showers together.
Oh yeah, the Chris sausage, dude. Yeah. That's funny.
This podcast
we
was
all
so
gotta-
professional for an hour and 50 minutes. It was so professional. I actually thought it would devolve way before this, so I'm proud of you guys. I really am proud of you guys.
I blame you for.
You started all this, Matt.
You
Trust
really
me.
did. I mean, you zoomed in and everything.
Pump gate.
You brought up cock pump. These guys all got real attentive, real fast.
It was like, how much is the Huddy one? Never
Tom
have
moved
a
his camera
backup.
out of the way. He said, "I'm not here."
Oh.
I
Well.
might have it on right now. You guys can't even
Oh
tell.
Jesus.
Nightmare fuel. I was going to get a good night's sleep, but now
Well.
Oh wait, that's not a fan in the back room in the camper. Oh God.
I think it's a great time to end the recording bit before it gets even more out of hand.
Hey, do you guys want to give shout outs to sponsors, people you like, thank, anything like that?
oh,
I want to
yeah,
give a shout out to Matt's barber. I think he does an awesome job with his flat top.
not flat top. At least I don't need Grecian formula there, Gray Boy.
Yeah, it's
Oh my God.
It's bad.
No, I obviously Team Associated, Nitro Pro. Actually, I don't even live in the area anymore, but Tony at ACS Hobby still keeps me stickered up for nothing, by the way. So I got to give a big
that's
shout out to
Colleen.
Tony at ACS.
That's Colleen.
Is it Colleen? Oh, I was gonna say she's really nice.
Tony
Tony's-
puts the paper in, and then Colleen does everything else. Don't let him lie to you.
I have to call Tony and take about 5 minutes of grief, and then I get my stickers. But that's the
Yeah.
price you pay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tom?
Like Matt, you guys know sponsorship wise associated, J Concepts, Tekin. But just I got to give a shout out to some of the guys on the Team Associated team. There's always people you can bounce stuff by. You got Lonzo, you got Matt, Vin, Gary Terry, Jason Massey, Dwayne Gutschall. There's a bunch of guys, which are just it's a really good group, and they definitely welcome me, and it's just nice to have people to bounce shit off of. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some names, but just shout out to all those guys. They do an awesome job, and they make it by working together, we're all getting faster.
I need a shout out to Kevin at LCRC, because honestly, there's times during race weekend where I'm harassing him like, hey, do you have this? Hey, do you have that? And he goes into his personal stash sometimes for me, and I've got to give him big props. Now, granted, I take a lot of grief for that stuff from Kevin, but
As bad
does
as you
help
saw,
him out.
I get you out there as fast as I could too before you fart and blow somebody out of the water. Whatever I need to get the hell out of here.
never happened. Come on.
I think we've all been there for at least one time, Matt.
That poor
Even
one that
outside.
migrated underneath the table and got Mike Ream. Poor guy almost puked.
That night.
Oh,
Yeah.
good times.
Tom, aren't you doing a thing on the interwebs with a microphone and a camera here soon or something? Your
What are you talking
podcast?
about?
Your podcast. Aren't you?
What podcast?
Aren't you? Yours. What do you mean?
No, teasing you. No, look, you guys doing an awesome job too. But no, Northeast RC Racer podcast, doing that with Vin and Toby and George. We're on episode 30 though, and we've been doing this for like 2.5 years. You guys, would you say what episode was this? 19?
Yes.
19, and then we
Yeah.
got 2 tech episodes out too.
Yeah, you
So-
guys are like on it.
Well, we don't have families or girlfriends or anything better to do. So.
0 responsibilities.
Look, you guys got to be killing it out there. I mean, you're racing
trying to.
scale model racing vehicles.
I
I
know,
know,
the
right?
chicks should be flocking to you
I
guys.
just,
Yeah.
I'm thankful I met my wife way before I got into this hobby, because if I was doing this, there's no way in hell she'd be around.
So the way I explain the LCRC trips to people that are non-RC people is that it's a weekend-long camping trip that happens to include racing toy cars.
Oh, it's always a secret shame. I used to tell people when I was working, where are you going this week? Oh, I'm going mountain biking.
Yeah.
I'll never tell them where I was going. There was always some other store what I was doing.
My dad
And then
still thinks
I-
LCRC is like a 5-star camp, like resort. When I told him I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy a camper and park it out there. He's like, oh, it's a whole campsite, campground, and everything. And I was like, yeah, sure.
My
The
wife
last-
likes busting my stone. She was talking to one of her girlfriends one time, and she's like, "What do you got planned for?" She goes, "I'm not sure. Tom's going away racing." She goes, "Don't you get worried he's gonna get hurt racing? Like something's gonna happen?" And then she had to laugh and explain what I was actually doing.
The last few dates I've been on, like people know I race cars and do things like that. And then when you actually tell them what type of cars you race, they're usually kind of like let down. So I just try
Yeah.
to avoid.
You also have a Supra in the garage.
Yeah, it's right there. So
It'd be like, oh yeah, laugh at my toy cars, Supra. Like,
yeah,
Tom, we ride dirt bike. Doesn't that count for anything? Aren't we like big
Yeah.
studs for riding dirt bike?
What?
I said we ride dirt bike too. So I explained that first.
Oh,
Oh, I ride dirt bike, and then I race toy cars.
Fair.
So
then you got to do the whole bit of like, you just don't understand how cool it is. And do you know how hard it is to wheel this thing at 35, 40 mile an hour through the air? And they're just, bored, collecting their check, walking out, texting their other date.
Just texting
you win a
done.
lot of money, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't race for money. You what? You don't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
you
funny
spend
because my
thousands of
parents were just
dollars to
asking
not
me
get anything.
about that. They were like, "You did what place you got?" And I told them like WOCRC, and they're like, "Did you get any money for that?" And I'm like, "No."
We got the sweet plaque though.
Yeah.
No, but I spent $350 on a cock pump.
Yeah, no, 325, 325.
Yeah.
Tom,
Well, actually, they should be impressed when you tell them how much it costs to run these things. That's usually when the question comes up. Well, how much do you win?
Yeah.
I mean, you spent $1,500 on a car and you won nothing. Yeah, pretty much. That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew
Oh,
up.
and by the way, I have 4 of them.
Yeah,
Relative
Yeah.
to my big scale racing, I'll be honest, if I didn't have another 10 grand ready to spend on a weekend, like I'm not taking my big car anywhere. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it's all relative, like because I can't break a transmission or, I'm going to go through an engine. My engine in my big car only has so many hits on it before you're going to have to tear that down and replace it. Turbos, going through, I think it's like $125 of spark plugs a weekend, just things like that. So
Yeah, a good testing
and then
tune
fuel
day,
and-
that's still like $200 or more. But for fuel,
Yeah.
travel, the entry fee. And that's if you don't
Yeah,
break
travel.
anything.
yeah, absolutely. And tires for
Yeah.
that compared to this. So it's all relative in the expense.
We're not doing crack, so like
Yeah.
It is kind of crack, though. When you think
It is,
about it,
yeah.
it's still like crack.
it might
They still
hit
keep
harder.
coming back.
I mean, it's just like it's no difference than me like spending $2,500 on a set of golf clubs, on a full bag.
Everybody needs to have some sort of way to unwind and justify getting up and going to work on Monday.
True.
Gotta
You're
be ready to
retired.
work for
Shut
it.
up. I don't want to
Oh,
hear it.
I had to go to work on Monday before.
All right. Ready
All
to
right,
wrap
kid.
it up.
Okay, I want to thank
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
I want to thank
Is it
Tony
the
and all
longest
that.
episode ever? We could go on 2.5 hours. I feel like we did a pretty good one here.
It went by pretty
Yeah.
good.
I mean, there's like 5 minutes I got to cut out of lulls we had, but
All right, I'm sorry.
Cool.
Wrap it up.
All right, wrap up time,
All right.
Alex.
yeah. Shout out Tony and Colleen ACS, LCRC for everything they do. We're on 4 days, right? 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days.
4 days.
Just post.
Yeah.
It's LCRC week. It's the most wonderful time of the month. Coming up this weekend.
Can't wait.
So hope everyone's listening to this as they're prepping their cars or traveling there. We'll see you all there. I have stickers. If anyone wants a podcast sticker, we'll have stickers. Come find us. Thanks everyone for listening. Taylor, you got anything?
LCRC, 46RC for the event coverage. Toby, MT Designs, Mike that paints my bodies, all that stuff. I think that's really about it.
Yeah, what? Techno Tekin, MKS, Promotion, JT, ACS, like mentioned before, LCRC, everyone. Toby, 46RC. for
Oh,
sure.
obviously Mugen for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mugen
Matt
that I
and
get
Tom,
through
thank
LCRC.
you.
I figure that's
Matt and
implied.
Tom.
Yeah.
Matt and Tom, thank you both for joining.
And
It's fun.
especially you, the listener or the viewer, depending on how you stream the podcast.
Thanks
Like,
again.
subscribe, share.
Yep. Thanks again, guys. Make sure you go listen to Northeast RC Racers podcast as well on what you guys are on YouTube and Facebook, right? And Apple now, right?
No, we're on Apple now. You
Yeah.
guys set the bar high.
Well,
I
that's
said, we
all
gotta get
Taylor.
going. These guys are
Yeah. So go check them out. And remember to keep it on its wheels, keep between the pipes, and what do we say, guess?
I hate you.
Flow
Matt.
is fast.
Yeah.
There it is.
Slow as fast, yes. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.
See ya.